Hey, all work, no pleasure. I ain't here to make friends, big stepper. Hey, bad guy, Heath Ledger. Ready for whatever, I'll be front and center. Don't fly too close to the sun, your body chopped up by propellers. Came in arrogant, but left out in a stretcher. Fuck the comparison, y'all know y'all couldn't replicate it. Chilling in the desert, I'm good under pressure.
Stick around when we hold it down, look at what we found.
This a marathon, not a sprint, let's go 100 miles.
From the ground, with me to the clouds, never coming down.
That's the crown on me, wear it proud, show 'em what we bout.
Stick around when we hold it down, look at what we found.
So this a marathon, not a sprint, let's go 100 miles.
From the ground, with me to the clouds, never coming down.
That's the crown on me, wear it proud, fuck what they was talking about. All work, no pleasure. I ain't here to make friends, big stepper. Hey, bad guy, Heath Ledger. Ready for whatever, I'll be front and center. Quick to sever, however, whoever. Raining from above, we shooting down through your umbrella. Ay, getting fed up, nothing you could tell us. Snapping every shot I take, just wait till it develops.
Stick around when we hold it down, look at what we found.
This a marathon, not a sprint, let's go 100 miles.
From the ground, with me to the clouds, never coming down.
That's the crown on me, wear it proud, show 'em what we bout.
Stick around when we hold it down, look at what we found.
This a marathon, not a sprint, let's go 100 miles.
From the ground, with me to the clouds, never coming down.
That's the crown on me, wear it proud, fuck what they was talking
Stick
about.
around when we hold it down, look at what we found. From the ground, with me to the clouds, never coming down. Stick around when we hold it down, look at what we found.
This a marathon, not a sprint, let's go 100 miles.
From the ground, with me to the clouds, never coming down.
That's the crown on me, wear it proud, fuck what they was talking about.
Cause I'll find no matter what. been quiet for a minute. I've been grinding, still in it. I've been counting these digits. Excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. The crash came when the cash came. Spend it for you get it like those rookies all on draft day. For the love like it's match game. Hit the ground running, really do it for my last name. They act different when the facts change. I'm not with the tip for tag games. In my own league, I don't chase game. In my own league, I don't hang with lanes. I know I've been quiet for a minute. I've been grinding, still in it. I've been counting these digits. Excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. Now how could that be? Talking about who can be talking about me. Feeling like stretch where I got all this reach. Feeling too blessed when I step on these beats. Now how could that be? I could beat the pressure, I could beat the 2-3. Jab, jab, hook, then I duck and I weave. It was never you, it was me versus me. I know I've been quiet for a minute. I've been grinding, still in it. I've been counting these digits. Excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me. Batter up, get some. Swinging for the fences, I might leave it in the sun. Every pitch a home run. Stack a couple tickets just to leave it to my son. Take it back while I be gone. Small city kid, couldn't dream a bigger one. A marathon, never run. Check the scoreboard, how I'm feeling like I won. I know I've been quiet for a minute. I've been grinding, still in it. I've been counting these digits. Excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business. If you see me, don't trip, just excuse me. Wrong if I do, wrong if I don't. That's why I do me no matter what, so excuse me. Lie if I do, lie if I don't. The proof is in the story, take a seat and excuse me.
I feel like slapping a nigga today. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I feel like slapping a nigga today. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I feel like slapping a nigga today. Whoa, whoa, whoa. These motherfuckers on the road, where the hell they learn to drive? Jive turkeys at my job, about to get a cool, cold, mean five. Should've took the day off. Might slap my boss. My own damn kids pissing me off. As if I hadn't had enough. Chipotle, fuck my goddamn order up. I'm fed up, I'm fed up, I'm fed up. I feel like slapping a nigga today. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I feel like slapping a nigga today. I feel like slapping a nigga today. Oh, oh, oh. Bartender, don't you see me waving you down? This guy came after me, I was here first, but you serving him rounds. No, I bought the Uber here. My friends expecting me to buy it back. Tomorrow morning, I better get a cash out, or every last one of you motherfuckers getting slapped. Bet that. Whoa, I feel like slapping a nigga today. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I feel like slapping a nigga today. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I feel like slapping a nigga today. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Woke up this morning with these thoughts in my head. The world would be better off if I just stayed my ass in bed. Whoa, I feel like slapping a nigga today. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I feel like slapping a nigga today. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I feel like slapping a nigga today. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Took a deal, sign another deal, post up in the hills on the real, headed for a mill, travel with me still, getting kills, all this pop appeal, got these pop stars try popping in, and they getting pop for real, I ain't tryna build, I was tryna lead a mill, getting to it, before I hopped up off the block, I was still going through it, friends doing pills, and came faster than it should've, I was Buddy Hill, shooting at a pace soon as I pull up, dropping buckets, hey, yeah, like it's nothing. In the kitchen chopping onions, yeah. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, cause I'm dropping buckets, hey, yeah. Like it's nothing, hey. Earn my respect and burn a budget, hey. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, yeah, I'm dropping buckets. Got some cash for me, don't worry about my past for me. I'm driving with no gasoline, this life I live's a fantasy. Yeah, I do this for my dogs, all my day ones and my family. My life gon' live through them if I end up in any tragedies. I hope y'all understand this shit got bigger cause it had to be. I always knew I had it, but just not at this capacity. I recognize the gravity, closer to the summit, stacking chips and counting nuggets. I've been stunting, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Hey, yeah, like it's nothing. Hey, in the kitchen chopping onions. Hey, tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, cause I'm dropping buckets. Hey, yeah, like it's nothing. Hey, earn my respect and burn a budget. Hey, tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Earn my respect and burn a budget. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Took a deal, sign another deal, post up in the hills on the real, headed for a mill, travel with me still, getting kills, all this pop appeal, got these pop stars try popping in, and they getting pop for real, I ain't tryna build, I was tryna lead a mill, getting to it, before I hopped up off the block, I was still going through it, friends doing pills, and came faster than it should've, I was Buddy Hill, shooting at a pace soon as I pull up, dropping buckets, hey, yeah, like it's nothing. In the kitchen chopping onions, yeah. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, cause I'm dropping buckets, hey, yeah, like it's nothing, hey. Earn my respect and burn a budget, hey. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, yeah, I'm dropping buckets. Got some cash for me, don't worry about my past for me. I'm driving with no gasoline, this life I live's a fantasy. Yeah, I do this for my dogs, all my day ones and my family. My life gon' live through them if I end up in any tragedies. I hope y'all understand this shit got bigger cause it had to be. I always knew I had it, but just not at this capacity. I recognize the gravity, closer to the summit, stacking chips and counting nuggets. I've been stunting, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Hey, yeah, like it's nothing. Hey, in the kitchen chopping onions. Hey, tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, cause I'm dropping buckets. Hey, yeah, like it's nothing. Hey, earn my respect and burn a budget. Hey, tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Earn my respect and burn a budget. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Took a deal, sign another deal, post up in the hills on the real, headed for a mill, travel with me still, getting kills, all this pop appeal, got these pop stars try popping in, and they getting pop for real, I ain't tryna build, I was tryna lead a mill, getting to it, before I hopped up off the block, I was still going through it, friends doing pills, and came faster than it should've, I was Buddy Hill, shooting at a pace soon as I pull up, dropping buckets, hey, yeah, like it's nothing. In the kitchen chopping onions, yeah. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, cause I'm dropping buckets. Ay, yeah, like it's nothing. Ay, earn my respect and burn a budget. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, yeah, I'm dropping buckets. Drop some cash for me, don't worry about my past for me. I'm driving with no gasoline, this life I live's a fantasy. Yeah, I do this for my dogs, all my day ones and my family. My life gon' live through them if I end up in any tragedies. I hope y'all understand this shit got bigger cause it had to be. I always knew I had it, but just not at this capacity. I recognize the gravity, closer to the summit, stacking chips and counting nuggets. I've been stunting, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Hey, yeah, like it's nothing. Ay, in the kitchen chopping onions. Ay, tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, cause I'm dropping buckets. Ay, yeah, like it's nothing. Ay, earn my respect and burn a budget. Ay, tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Earn my respect and burn a budget. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Took a deal, signed another deal, post up in the hills on the real, headed for a mill, travel with me still, getting kills, all this pop appeal, got these pop stars try popping in, and they getting pop for real. I ain't tryna build, I was tryna lead a meal, getting to it, before I hopped up the block, I was still going through it, friends doing pills, and came faster than it should've. I was Buddy Hill, shooting at a pace soon as I pull up, dropping buckets. Yeah, like it's nothing. In the kitchen chopping onions. Yeah, tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, cause I'm dropping buckets. Ay, yeah, like it's nothing. Ay, earn my respect and burn a budget. Ay, tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, yeah, I'm dropping buckets. Drop some cash for me, don't worry about my past for me. I'm driving with no gasoline, this life I live's a fantasy. Yeah, I do this for my dogs, all my day ones and my family. My life gon' live through them if I end up in any tragedies. I hope y'all understand this shit got bigger cause it had to be. I always knew I had it, but just not at this capacity. I recognize the gravity, closer to the summit, stacking chips and counting nuggets. I've been stunting, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Hey, yeah, like it's nothing. Ay, in the kitchen chopping onions. Ay, tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, cause I'm dropping buckets. Ay, yeah, like it's nothing. Ay, earn my respect and burn a budget. Ay, tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Earn my respect and burn a budget. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Took a deal, signed another.
Wait. Hold on here. Is this the barbershop? Is this the barbershop?
Yes, it is.
It's the barbershop.
Yes.
Wait, I mean, we can't talk straight in the barbershop. Then where can we talk straight? We can't talk straight nowhere else. You know, this ain't nothing but healthy conversation. That's all.
You gotta tell who the fuck down.
It ain't nobody exempt in the barbershop. You know that. Ain't nobody exempt. You can talk about whoever and whatever, whenever you want to in the barbershop.
Why you gotta tell?
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. my mind? Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Yeah, there's no mercy in this world, just hunger-thirsty persons in different versions. Each new update, that shit worsens. Why? Pull back the curtain and you'll see the different vermin. We all have different burdens that all seem to cause disturbance. Yo, so do me a favor, don't treat me like a neighbor. Don't need the different flavors of your problems just to savor. I've got my own issues, I need a comb to get through. Don't need to groan with you, just go get your own tissue.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Everybody in the world blind.
Come on inside and get yourself something cool to drink.
Yeah.
Welcome
Take
back
some time to also hit that Cash App at the bottom of
to
the screen,
another edition
or that
of
super
the
chat to
Black Man
support the Black
Unfiltered
Man.
Network. Welcome to the barbershop, y'all. What's popping? Look here, man. Black Man Unfiltered is handling a little business right now, but he messed around and left the keys to the kingdom to the kid. Y'all in trouble now. It's about to go down. But before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of the howdy do's out of the way. First, we're going to talk about Coach Ferg. He says fatherhood is the best side. That's right. What's happening, Trey Ferg? Come on, man. I got the keys to the kingdom, man. If you see the link, come on, man. Waiting on you. Then we got CJ Wilkers in the building. He says fatherhood is the greatest hood I've ever lived. Yes, indeed it is. Who else do we have in the building? We also have Hunting Wisdom. Good to see you, darling. She says good evening to everyone. And of course, we got the one and only Scorched Earth. He says being a father is selfless, thankless, hopeless job. Everyone comes to you for help, but don't appreciate your sacrifices made. I see why some men have dates and pieces of bullet. Not me. I understand. Who else? We got Black Man Unfiltered. He back in the back chilling somewhere. And we also have Miss Locks in the building. Smile. What's happening? What's going on? And I think that's it. Scorch Earth, that's it, man. What's going on, y'all? I know y'all probably had a long week. Black Man Unfiltered said, come on, y'all hit the button, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Come on and hit the button, man. It's been a long week, man. What y'all been up to, man? For real. We've been watching the news and the Trumpster with these doggone tariffs acting a fool, got people around losing their minds. You know, folks don't know whether they want to sell their stock or buy stock or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Also, I'm finna bring in my main man, Prototype, in the building.
Come on inside and get yourself something cool to drink.
Hey. What's happening?
The dark side.
Last time, man. What's happening, man?
And, you know, just living the dream. That's all.
Hey, what's going on, man? How was your week, man?
Pretty good. It was solid.
Good, man. What's been going on, man? You been watching the news, man? You've been watching your boy Trump cutting up, man?
I have not, man. I'm balls deep in T-ball baseball right now.
T-ball baseball. How's it going over there on that side, man? It's family, man.
It's family's good, man. You know, just trying to enjoy the moments we can.
Yeah, I know that's for real, man. Fatherhood is something else, man. So how you liking it so far? You know, this the beginning part.
It's a gift and a curse. I'm gonna be flat out. You know what I'm saying? You got to do it the right way, or you're gonna get screwed.
Indeed. So give us some examples how it could be a gift, man. Because I don't think nobody understands that part.
The gift is being able to give back to your community. Like, you know, I know over on Prototype Dad, we talk about all the time, fatherhood just don't stop in your house, man. It's really how you reflect on the community, right? Yes, it starts out, you start in your house, but then once you got your own household in order, the other people in the community start looking up to you like, oh, that man's house is cool. And they start giving you that respect, you know what I mean, around the neighborhood. So when they see you, they be like, hey, Mr. Prototype, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, like you come around, you get things in order. Everybody around you feel like it's cool. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's a man present, so everything must be in order.
True that. So give us some examples of some curses, man.
Because
it ain't for the faint of heart, bro.
Like, so you got to do it right, man. Like the curse is having kids out of wedlock. You know, like that's a huge curse. Doing things that way, man. You got to deal with the system. You got to deal with your kid being taught from so many different households. You know what I mean? Like, so you know how these grandmas ain't the old grandmas.
No. I was thinking about that the other day, man. I'm like, y'all need to make grandmas great again, man.
Look, grandmas ain't great no more, man. So grandmas are just as unhealed as the girl you're dating. You know what I mean? And they'll be putting negative stuff in your daughter's head and your kid's head. You know, so you really got to protect. You really got to protect your kids around 360. You understand? You got to give them a 360 bubble. You know what I mean? So it's really important on who you have around them, man. And if you don't do it right, you're going to be dependent on people who are really not for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So got to do it right.
Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage. None other than in the building. All I see is the head, man. What's happening, man?
How y'all doing, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you good, man. What's going on?
I just thought I'd just come with only the head today.
I
man. You know, I think this is a great topic.
Pause.
Yeah, that's right. He always in the gutter. Get out of there.
Always up to no good. What's happening, man? How's your family, man?
I mean, it's a beautiful thing, man. You know, it's crazy. You know, this week it's been a lot of rain. Yeah. And I remember, just go back a little bit, Tuesday's topic was my activity. Right. And today is, you know, I just talked to my son about 20 minutes before the show started. And we talked for about an hour, and he's in his second phase of getting his Class A CDL. So just having those conversations, man. And, you know, Prototype touched on it, man. And I just remember going to the school and being a part of the school environment and seeing other young men and women saying that they wish that they could come home with me and him. You know what I'm saying? That it just did a lot, you know what I'm saying? And then working in it, a lot of young people, and just being a father figure to those that don't really know you, but they trust you with information and trust you with giving them the right knowledge, man. So, yeah, man, I don't know, man. I know sometimes, like Prototype said, man, we don't always get the best gifts. You know, we are sometimes put on the back burner, you know, when it comes to, I would say that'd be one of the downside. We like birthday gifts too, but we might get a good pair of socks or some that you already got. But, you know, to me, those are special moments still. But yeah, like you said, man, being a baby father, and I was just talking to my son. He's like, "No, Dad, I ain't having no kids out of wedlock." I said, "Don't do it." Falling into that trap could set you back 30 years, you know, so.
But, you know, we got to take accountability as men for not being treated right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't teach people how to treat us. We don't teach people, you know, we're so tough that, you know, and staying quiet and not complaining, opposed to teaching people how to treat us. So they're just going to give us socks and drawers because they don't really know us. You know what I mean? Well, you know, we really want a bottle of Blanton's. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I really want some Angel's Envy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want a new smoker. Like, you know, so until we start expressing the things that we're truly interested in, they ain't gonna give it to us either. You know what I mean? So we got to stop being quiet about it and teach people how to love us.
Raise the bar, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think the younger guys are understanding that though, because they're telling women what they want, and they'll walk away. You know what I'm saying? We love romantic. We think we romantic, but younger guys are like hell to the now. And they ain't wasting no time.
That's
and
right.
The crazy part is they still getting what they came to get. Given very little, they can still get. Not everybody moves like that. Some guys want to be the Romeo and save the day, but the ones who's moving like now, saying no and walking away, it's a weird situation.
Indeed.
They getting the girls that they want.
Indeed. Well, we got one more coming to the panel. Y'all ladies, and put your hands together for the continent. Y'all know him as our pain.
What's going on? What's going on, gentlemen?
It's disgusting.
Big Boom. We'll call our pay, call him Big Boom.
What's that, RP?
What's going on, man? I hear you guys talking.
How you doing, brother? How you doing?
Yeah, man. How's everybody else doing? I'm doing all right. Can't complain.
Good.
Oh well, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, I got to do my taxes, man. These 2 weeks.
What you waiting on, man?
Tomorrow's my tax day, man. I always wait to the end. Whether I get money or not, I always wait to the last. I can't stand doing my tax. Well, I shouldn't say that. You know, I just it's something you got to do like every year, of course. But.
Yeah, hopefully your president will handle that. And you don't have to worry about that no more, man.
Yeah, but if he's going to ask me how much money I got after the tariffs, I put 0 in all the columns.
There you go. So you put all your dollars to work, ain't that right, our pain?
Yeah, well, anyway, but that's another conversation. But yeah, man, my tax returns are not too difficult, so that's it, man. And on the topic, you know, I mean, it was interesting raising kids. For us, I don't know. Some people have kids real easy. For me and my wife, it was a journey, man. It was a journey. It was definitely a journey. We don't have to get into all the details, but it took us, 12, 13 years to have our 2 kids.
Yeah. Y'all enjoyed yourself, man.
No. It wasn't necessarily because we weren't trying. We had to go through a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it took us 12, 13 years to have our 2 kids.
Cool. I don't think people realize, man, what goes into raising kids, man. It's one thing you want them to enjoy their childhood, and at the same time, you still want to prepare them for after childhood too.
True.
And some lessons take longer than other ones to learn, man. And I don't think people really understand it. Of course, you know, boys, you know, we started out with boys early, you know what I'm saying? We kind of rough them up a little bit, you know, get them tough, get them ready for the world, you know, rough and tumble or whatever. But girls is something different, man. I don't know what it is. Our parents, I know you got some daughters, man. What's the difference between raising girls and boys?
You can't brace your girls, man. Your boys buck up, you can brace their asses, man. You know, but with your daughters, you got to be more cerebral. You really have to talk to them. And I always had in my head, you know, I mean, everybody's different. For me, you know, I'm the first man that they knew that loved them. And I wasn't going to hit my daughters because I didn't want them to associate getting hit by a man with love.
Right.
You know, so no matter, you know, what they did, but they were pretty good, you know, good kids anyway. But so it had to always be a conversation on why I told them why they couldn't do shit. And that made me a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to they understand me a little bit more. So, you know, but, you know, that's how it was. So it wasn't too difficult because they did what I asked them to do. I should have asked them to do a whole lot more, man. They were pretty obedient.
Absolutely. Prototype on you, sir. You know, it's a difference between raising boys and girls. What you know from your experience?
So it goes back to you have to have the right structure for a girl. If you're not married, if you don't do it under the married, it's so much of a toss up of where they're going to go, man. You might as well it's a low chance that they're going to be right. If you don't, it's such a gamble. Like when I found out I was having a girl, I was so upset because I just didn't know what to do. I was pissed. Like, damn, I'm having a girl. I don't know what to do. Like, and it wasn't the right mom. You know what I mean? And I was just, it was bad. Like, I was so mad. And it turned out exactly the way I thought it would. You know what I'm saying? And it did not turn out well, man. But the best case for having them daughters, you got to have them in the right nuclear structure, or it's not going to work.
Absolutely. Trey Ferg. I know you got boys, man, but what's the difference between, do you think, between raising girls and boys?
Shoot, I grew up in the house with 5 sisters, man, and the way my father handled them and me, like Prototype said, was totally different. You know what I'm saying? He gave me directions with 10 words, and I had to figure out the rest. And he made sure I got it done. But my sisters, it was a long ass walk around the park conversation. You know what I'm saying? I've only remembered me getting spanked by my father. And it was only one time that was needed, 7th grade. And he never had to do that again. But then he could talk to me like, get it done. The expectation is high. You have my name type. And that's how I moved after that. So I saw the difference, you know, and sometimes I talked to my son. Sometimes I had to put the elbow on him and let him know I can still run over you. I still play football. So, but, you know, I can see how it could turn out. We see a lot of results over the last 30 years without that father standing strong in the home. A lot of our women, they tend to attract the bad guy, pick the bad guy, you know, might end up on a pole, play around, have 2 or 3 kids early. So we see the result of not having that father. So.
Absolutely.
It's really true. I mean, my daughters didn't even date while they were teenagers. They didn't have no boyfriend. They had none of that shit. I just had them busy all the time, you know? And I'm trying to think, me and the wife, was there ever a time where we didn't know exactly where they were? You know what I'm saying? When I was growing up, there was a lot of times my parents didn't know where the hell I was. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of they knew exactly where they were all the time, pretty much. So I just kept them busy. You know, my goals were real simple for them. I had to, you know, I set the environment for them to learn, but they all had their desk in their separate rooms. They had to get their homework done. You know, we didn't have no TVs in their rooms and stuff like that. So there was a community room for them to be in, so we know what they were watching. You know, so they're not a TV watchers that much now. Anyway, and I was a bad example. they don't watch TV. They just read books and stuff like that. But you know, they had their hobbies. You know, so now that they're women, they're kind of straight a little bit, right? They stayed with me after college. They came back home. You know, went back into their rooms for years. You know, my oldest, it was time for her to go. She was like 29 when she left. Stacked the bread and stuff, so she's doing well. And my other one's with me. She's going to be 26 this in May.
29, bro. Like, so she made it to 29. Man, girl should be married by like 24. How she make it to 29?
Yeah, she had a guy. It just didn't work out. So she got another guy now. But you know, I mean, I can't force him to get married. You know, she's in this pool with everybody else. You know, I wish they were unique. But she wants to do it, but she's got to deal with the same thing all other women out there dealing with, and men, by the way. So I can't help her with that.
You know what I think it is, our pain. I don't think we do a good job of teaching kids how to be friends with their spouse. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that we do naturally, but we don't really tell our kids what to expect, how to talk to a person. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it, that's something that we pretty much do naturally, or something we learn along the way through trial and error. But I don't think we sit down with our kids and say, hey, look, have you ever talked to them how they felt from time to time? Or do they ever ask you how you feel? You know what I'm saying? Those are some clues whether or not somebody should be in your life or not. And I really don't think we had those conversations. It's pretty much like Prototype was saying, hey, don't bring no kids home. You know what I'm saying? Out of wedlock. You know what I'm saying? That was pretty much the extent of my conversation that I had. My dad don't bring no kids home. You know what I'm saying? And that was about it, you know? But I think that's about it. What you think on Trey Ferg? You know, what was the extent of your conversation your dad had with you about relationships and how to talk to your spouse, man, and stuff like that?
I learned a lot of that from my mother. You know, in my little early teen years, my father, like I said, he struggled with alcohol. My father used to get off work and be out. You know what I'm saying? But my mother used to talk to me a lot about don't take certain stuff from women, you know what I'm saying? How women talk to you, how they, you know what I'm saying, just communicate. She said, you know, that was real big. My mother was very like compassionate. And she didn't care about my feelings though. She just let me know, you bringing them little heifers around here, I'm gonna let them know. I'm gonna tell on you. You know, like what? You know what I'm saying? But it helped me respect that type of relationship. You know, if I was with a person, I'd talk to them and concentrate on them. You know, but then if I saw them sort of having an eye wandering somewhere else, or if I wasn't that really into them, it wasn't nothing for me to just break it off. I wasn't gonna be no 2-year drawn out problem relationship, you know. So yeah, a lot of it I learned from my mother. Then having my sisters, I can learn from them because I had older sisters and younger sisters. You know, I meet a girl, I might want to come with a flower or something, you know, pick a rose, find a little rose garden, bring,
Right.
you know, stuff like that. But, you know, my mother taught me a lot and, you know, respect and make sure somebody met me halfway. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, one thing I noticed too, man, that they don't raise women the same like they used to. Our pain can probably attest to this. Back in the day, I think when girls got little gifts from guys or whatever, your mom, but especially if it was an expensive gift, the mom be like, "Hey, you don't take no gifts from no man." It just seemed like today, it's just like, you know,
You
these
better get
girls
up
be
for what you
trying
get.
to empty the clip. You know what I'm saying? What you gonna do for me and all this other stuff.
If they want your retirement plan
Yep.
the first 2
But
days.
but you know what though? It's some Gen Xers like, and it's not, I'm not even really attacked to Gen Xers, but for instance, like I go for my parents. I'm taking, you know what I mean, information from my parents, right? My mom is like, get every man for what she can. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, my daughter was talking to her godfather and was, you know, trying to get a couple dollars out of him. And I was talking to my mom about it. I was like, yeah, you know, your granddaughter's trying to get her godfather to get her something. That's her goddad. She better get him. He got to get him something. She better get everything she can. And it just made me hang up on her. Like I can't stand that attitude, that kind of like temperament. Like, you know what I mean? I've never liked that. And it ain't just my mom, but it's like my mom's, my aunt, and that, like women of that generation always got some underlining, get them for what you can, girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? You like, what in the world? You know what I mean? It's sneaky. It's sneaky, it's conniving, you know what I mean? And then got the nerve to be cynical. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course you think people after you because you after people.
Yeah. So y'all saw that new viral video where the guy was going with a girl. He found out her mother didn't have no man.
Oh
Her
yeah.
grandmother.
Yeah.
He said he left her right away. He know none of the women around her had no boyfriend, no man. He said, you know what? I just know what's coming. We cutting it off right now. And he was right.
You know, that's funny, man. A while back, I said that if you go into a girl's family and there's nothing but women there, and I said they probably either ran the men off or they probably killed them off. I said either way it go, your chances are looking slim, brother.
But you know, I used to be so toxic. My first thought would be like, oh, there's no man. I probably could sleep with them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you was toxic.
That was you know what I'm saying? Like, in my
You was a little
toxic
horny
days,
toad.
I'm thinking about like, man, there ain't no man. The mama, the mama fine, ain't no man. Oh, okay. So, I mean, when the daughter go to sleep, I can slide in the mama's room. Like,
Yeah,
you know
you
what
was
I'm saying?
nasty. So, Prototype, can I ask you a question, man?
Yeah.
Was your mom a teen mom with you?
Yeah, I went to the prom with my mama.
What?
Yeah, no, not literally, but she was pregnant and went to the prom.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I can understand why you be hard on Gen X.
I
I understand it. I understand it now. Yeah. And Prototype, listen, I had to run from stuff like that. What you was born into, I had to. I was in that was my dating pool. I had to.
Yeah,
run
that
from
was your
stuff like
dating
that.
pool. Truth. Yeah.
But again, Prototype. The one thing about it, a lot of us could recognize that type of behavior and choose not to even deal with it. We wouldn't take on all the harsh insults from a woman because you had to be tough back in Gen X days because, boy, they would talk about you, the men and the women, if you was acting stupid.
Yeah,
So I can understand.
call it trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like there was at one point I'd be like, this is the niggas that y'all had to choose from for my dad. I got two dads, and they both was on drugs. Like, I'm like, this is who he had to choose from.
I got you. I get it now.
That's bad, man. But I mean, get back. Oh yeah, go ahead and read that. Oh, you're on mute, Lit.
CJ Wilkins got a super chat. It says girls back in the day also weren't inundated with social media too. It's much easier to raise a girl in a wholesome way than when you can to turn the TV off. Absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Back on your conversation though about talking to my daughter, the older one, she's got a guy.
Yeah.
But she has some of the talking points. She's liberal like most kids when they go to college and shit. And she said, well, Dad, I hear people say, why do women need men? Why do I need a man? I looked at her, I says, well, you got a guy, right? That you like, you think he's good. You tell me why you need him. You tell me why you want this guy in your life, right? I'm not going to sit down here and give you a list and argue over each one of them. You're making a choice to be with this dude. You better have some reasons to be with him. So you figure that shit out and come back and let me know why you're doing it.
They need to be told what to do and why they need something though. Like they're consumers.
No, but you gotta be. You're right. I'm not gonna argue with that. But when you do that, right? Sometimes you get in tit for tat conversations. You'll say something. No, she'll say, "Well, I can do this. I can do that." No. You're with this guy. You should be with him for some kind of reason. He's got to be satisfying something in your life that you want to be with this guy. And you need to be able to articulate that to me. Because she got this guy she really likes. So tell me what you like about this guy. And so when it comes out of her mouth, I think it's much more powerful than me telling her why she should like it.
Absolutely, because most of the time there's things that come with being with somebody that you don't even think about. Think about it, our pain. When we're young, we think we're gonna be young forever. But they don't realize when you get 60, 70, 80 years old, who gonna be taking your old crusty butt to the doctor? You know what I'm saying?
Who wants somebody at that age?
You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody think about stuff like that, man. Life insurance.
Prototype, you married though, right? You
right.
married.
But I'm just saying, like if that's why people. So why not just wait until you just old to actually get married? Like I ain't gonna front. Like real talk. If it wasn't for me being a believer, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't have got married until I was like old and needing somebody like that. But at the same time, like who wants to get somebody when they're that old, man? And like
that's why you marry them young, man. So you build up some credit. You build up some when you building up not resistance.
You build up capital, emotional.
Yeah, you build up some capital, man. So this person, you ain't gonna let them go out like that, man. So
nope.
But I hear what you're saying, but nobody's saying wait. But of course, man, a man's biological clock is a whole lot different than a woman.
I mean, but like a woman be like, you just want me so I can take care of you when you're old. Like that's the only that's crazy. Like what woman in their right minds going, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
I hope you don't say that till we sit down over dinner time.
Hey, you know what's funny? Prototype is they always say that y'all men always wait till y'all get old for somebody to take care of y'all, but generally it's usually us taking care of them when they get old. You know what I'm saying? I done seen it way too many times. When
they're young,
taking care of the women.
We take care of them when they're young, when they're old, when they're in the middle stage, when they on a period, when they on they what's the thing when they lose their period. We are always taking care of that.
And we take care of them when they die. We take care of them when they die.
You know what's crazy to me?
When we die, we take care of
the side of it. Like they think lights and water and heat just happens. They don't even like, and in their head, you ain't did nothing for them. And kids like that too. That's why I be like females is forever teenagers. They're like having a teenager forever.
CJ Walker said to Prototype's point, he said women do wait till they get ran through to find a husband. Why can't men wait until they beat them?
Facts.
Oh man, that is hilarious.
But it's true. A lot of it is true, man. Especially the older they get, man. Forget it.
Yeah. I would say if you're gonna be single and you know it, I'd say about mid-40s. About mid-40s.
For a man.
Yeah, for a man, about mid-40s. Because a 45-year-old man can date everything from 30 to 55. And all those ages want him too.
You mean like I say 26.
Well, I wouldn't go as I mean, some people go young, but 26-year-old is like a 15-year-old to me. So
They're all like 15-year-olds, bro. Like,
yeah, but at least the 35-year-old, she's working. She's working.
She make more money, but mentally she's still a 15-year-old. Like they stop growing at 17, bro. Like mentally, they don't get past that emotional state, man.
You know what, Prototype?
That's true.
Now that you mention it, the ones who have actually been trained on how to take care of a husband or at least be cordial, the ones that mature past 15 mentally, you can tell too. It's just like they got an elegance about them. You know, it's like when you walk into their house, you can just smell food. You know, they'll open the door to ask you, "Have you had something to eat? Would you like something to drink?" You know what I'm saying? It's as I say, it's demure. You know what I'm saying? It's homey. You know what I mean? It's like, see, that's what I'm talking about. You know, because if you come to my house, I'm gonna offer you something to drink, you know, something to eat or whatever. But at the same time, you know, I'm trying to figure out what's missing with some of these women. And when you talk to them, the conversation usually stops right around 15 years old in their mind. You know, they're basically stuck at the dependent stage instead of, you know, being a mature adult. You know what I'm saying? So to your point, yeah, you're right.
17 forever, the forever teen. That's how women are, forever teenagers.
Right. I'm gonna run this super chat for CJ, man. He been dropping them ducats, man.
Plus violence. They said big bag bitch, get to the bag. They said big bag bitch, you want a snack? Well, this big bag bitch, she got the stack. So put big bag bitch clothes on the rack. Ooh, on the macaroni. Move and shake it for me. Ooh, we shaking and quaking. The brands are phony. Ooh, the brands are phony. Ooh, they need a Tony. They need an Emmy, Oscar, Grammy, cause the shit's baloney. The way they be faking like they're making all the sizes. If you ain't got at least a 4X, you ain't trying. Ooh, so give it to us, baby. Give us our guy. Give it to us when we step on the spot. Ooh,
my name is Rosa. They say I'm supposed to sit in the back, but I'm tired here, so I'm finna sit right closer. Come get me up then. It's gonna take about 3, 4, 5 men. And I ain't finna repeat myself again. Fight me. Somebody get her. My name is Eve. I didn't believe. I trusted Satan, ate that apple, he deceived. And yeah, I'm naked. I thought I was awakened. I'm the first to do it. Y'all my daughters, we related. Trick on Big Harry. Don't call me slave hoe. The hell? From the underground, railroad, bustin' down mouth of dope. When I say run, you better go. In the dark, that Glocky glow.
Don't call me slave, huh? You know what, man? Speaking of slave, huh? Why is it that every time when we start talking about marriage, women always that's slavery. They ain't never been nowhere near no slave, man. Our pain, what's up with that, man?
Hey man, don't ask me, man. I don't know. I mean, that's all modern woman shit, man. I'm telling you. I mean, I think it's the lies that has been told down through the years that if you got married back in the day, you were a slave because you didn't have freedom.
Right.
You know, and you didn't have any other choice, right? So we're seeing this come full circle because there's a whole bunch of women now realizing that this whole go it alone shit is stupid, right? So, but the problem is they're still messed up because it's all transactional. And this whole thing, I mean, just bringing it back to the not dark side of fatherhood, but the way we are, it kind of limits the ability for men to be the kind of fathers they need to be. So if there's a dark side of fatherhood from that perspective, with the way women think today, even the ones who want children and family, if they're disobedient and they're so modernized and feminist, right? You can't be the father you need to be to discipline the kids the way you need to discipline, or teach them the way you need to teach them. You know, and if you break up in the way the court system is, even if you fight it, you know, if you're not in the same household, you're not there, because most of your best teaching is through serendipity, just being available and being there. You know,
the dark side of fatherhood is raising a kid who is dangerous to himself, itself, and the community. That is the dark side of fatherhood.
Give us an example, man.
So I have an oldest daughter.
Okay.
I've had to commit her a few times. She's tried to commit suicide a few times. You know what I'm saying? it's really it's a dark side because you there's nothing you could do. You try to raise them the best you can, but but think about all the kids, all the parents who have kids that are killing other people. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you're raising these kids and they're out here destroying the community, or they're destroying people, or they're running cults. Like, think about Jeffrey Dahmer's son. You understand what I'm saying? Like, or father, like, knowing that that's your son out there, just that's the dark side of fatherhood, man, is raising somebody like that, or raising somebody that's like not even like you. They don't even like you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you be like, how you raise? I used to say, like, how I raise somebody that don't even like me. That's crazy. So it's there's definitely a dark side, man, and it ain't for everybody. So, and it can, and some things you don't have control over. You know what I mean? It can really turn out that way.
Well, you hit on a good point, Prototype, because we got that recent situation when a guy stabbed a dude to death. Just recently, these are both high schoolers, right? Both black dude stabs a white guy to death because he was at a football game. I think it was football track. And both of them come from a 2-family household. He lives in the kind of neighborhood. He lives in that same neighborhood as the white dude, and they got into a verbal altercation, and we don't know all the details because he was sitting in the opposing team's tent at a track meet, and they had a couple of words. He pulled out a knife and stabbed him twice. So he's in jail. But when you start to go through the psychology of it, you say, well, is this guy a thug, or is this guy from this kind of neighborhood? Nah. He had the same kind of middle class upbringing as the white boy. So I can imagine how his father is saying, well, what would, and it was like a snap. If you could believe the story, he just like had the knife with him already.
You know what? I think a lot of people, man, fall prey to the idea that just because you got two parents in the home, you're gonna turn out all right.
Right.
Jerry Jones always talk about, the best ability is availability. And I think one thing as fathers, the dark side about being a father is balancing, providing for your family, and also still being for them at the same time. And I think a lot of times kids, they lash out when you're not there, but at the same time, if you're there and you're not making no money, then they can't really respect you. So you pretty much at a damned if you do, if you damned if you don't type of situation. Right. So I think that's one of the dark sides of being a father. You want to give them everything that they, that they need, and everything, most of the stuff that they want, but at the same time, you still want to be there for them, so you can teach life lessons. And I think that is a mistake that I think a lot of people make when they say, "Oh yeah, you come from a 2-parent household." Well, that just because you come from a 2-parent household don't necessarily mean that it was functional.
There's no guarantees. You're absolutely right. I mean, look at that. Look at Hunter Biden.
Man, what?
He's a mess. He's a mess. A privileged kid who's a mess. As a grown man, he's still like a kid. He's the one stuck at 15 years old.
Right.
So so I can see your Prototype, what you're saying. I mean, the only thing as a parent, you could only take so much blame.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Sure. Because some things are out of your control.
So, fellas, what do y'all think about a situation where a child has a terminal illness and you can do nothing about it?
Give me an example, man.
Meaning that, say, God forbid, a kid has like a terminal cancer or leukemia or something,
right?
And you're there from the birth, and you got all these big plans that my baby, when it comes out and born, I'm gonna do all of these great things.
Nope.
And then the baby has a terminal illness or a severe handicap. It's like, wow, you're gonna be there, and with an illness, you really can't do anything. You just sort of sit there and watch your baby pass right in front of you, and a severely handicapped. It's like, I've got plans for my baby to play football, basketball, and run, do all of these.
Don't Jim Kelly's son? Isn't Jim Kelly's son?
Yeah,
he's severely handicapped.
Yeah, like like that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's a dark side because you have to be strong, but you're gonna break down in front of your child regardless, you know, but you still have to be strong in a sense. So I think that I would be more scared of that if I couldn't do anything to help my child at least try to be a good person. They just leave before I leave. I was just telling my son this today. I said, man, we was talking about age. My grandfather lived to be 94. My father made it to 80. I was like, man, if I can get between 80 and 94, I'm good. I'll be okay. You know, as long as you live longer than me, then I'm satisfied. He's like, you good, just take care of him. He's real smart. I'm like, okay, so, and it's funny that this is the topic today. So, yeah, I just couldn't imagine losing him before me. So,
you know, Trey Ferguson, situations like that, I think the only thing you really can do, man, is enjoy each moment. You know, make their life as comfortable as possible, because you don't know, today is not tomorrow. Today is not promised. Tomorrow's not promised. So I think a lot of times we like to make, you know, plans for tomorrow. Sometimes we just got to enjoy the day, man. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure that every day is as best as it can be. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes as people, we get ahead of ourselves. You know, we like to make all these different plans or whatever. You know, when I get married, I'm gonna do this, or you know, when I graduate from college, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna work here, work there. Man, there's a lot of people didn't make it to high school. You know, there's a lot of people didn't make it to college. A lot of people didn't wake up this morning. You know what I'm saying? And they made plans too. So I think in building relationships, you have to teach your kids, man, as a father, that you have to make sure that you enjoy every day as if it's your last. And I think if you really live life that way, I think you'll probably get the most out of it. You know, you'll fill your life with more memories of the good stuff than you will of the bad, because you're being intentional each and every day. So I think if we have to do our kids a disservice, man, if we don't teach them how to enjoy every moment, you know. I mean, that's how we grew up, man, from you know, chasing behind the ice cream truck, you know what I mean, to having water gun fights and all type of stuff, man, and going to prom and all this other stuff. Every day was magical, man, especially on Christmas. You know, Christmas came once a year and you knew it was coming. So you had something to look forward to. But outside of that, every day was different. You know, you hang out with your fellas and your homies, you get on your bikes and y'all ride out, you know, and whatever adventure happened. You know, some things you just can't plan, you know, just stuff just be funny for no reason. And the only people that know about it is y'all. So the little inside jokes, you know what I'm saying, that y'all have. So, you know, when you have situations like that, where you have a child with a severe, you know, disability or a handicap or something like that, the only thing you can do is make every day their best day, you know?
It's true.
Does that answer your question, Trey Ferg?
I was on move. Yeah, man. Yeah, pretty much, you know what I'm saying, is, you know, hearing you speak from a father perspective, you know what I'm saying, it just sort of makes me think like, okay, I did some things right. Okay, my father did some things right. My parents did some things right. You know what I'm saying? I just take it all with a grain of salt. And I took the teachings, like you said, get on your bike. Like our parents said, man, listen, where I lived at in Louisville, Kentucky, you could ride a 3/4 mile bridge and be in Indiana. And then on the other side, they had the dams where they used to close it and open it. Well, when they closed the dam, you could go down where they had water and fish. And we used to be down there throwing rocks, looking for stuff. And I used to be, I remember being 6 and 7, man, we used to go to the stockyard. And the stockyard is about 3 miles away from my house. The oldest person was 12 and us 7 and 8. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, and I can only imagine what would have happened looking back. Like, what if something would have happened to me? How would my parents be feeling? You know what I'm saying? Without me being,
Coach Ferg, when you mentioned that, if anybody saw the movie Stand By Me,
oh yeah,
right, when you it's called The Body, and Stephen King wrote it. We did that all the time. A group of dudes used to go places.
Yeah.
If a parent let his kids do that now, it'd be like child abuse.
Yeah, it would be.
I mean, we used to take treks like that all the time into the woods, man. Yep. They were going to search to see this dead body, you know.
Yep.
But when you're talking about those kind of things, we did all kinds of stuff. I remember when I was in the Bronx, we rode our bikes over the highway from Soundview in the East Bronx all the way to Rye. playland just for a bike ride. So we're all like 5 of us on the highway with our bikes, because we wanted to take these routes. And cars are whizzing by like 90 miles an hour, man.
No helmet, no gloves,
no helmet, no nothing, man. No nothing. But the other thing, going back to the topic, the funny thing, back in my day, it was an unwritten thing that as you grow, who got a girlfriend first? Who was going to get married first? I mean, it was like a natural thing. Who went to high school? If you went to high school and you were, trying to get out, where you're going to college, it was like a peer pressure to do these things. It wasn't like, where it's at now, where everybody's thinking about all these other things. Life just wasn't as complicated. It just wasn't as complicated. I mean, I'll give the mom and ever that. It was just, it was some natural things. We had like, some guys in a friend group, they got into gangs. Some guys started using drugs, but we all had this kind of pathway that was similar. When you got your first girlfriend, that you get laid and shit, and we used to like measure people's scratches on their back. Oh shit, you got some scratches on your back. Yeah,
and the girls used to have the little hickeys on their neck. Remember that?
Yeah, hickeys. We used to do shit like that, man. It was just crazy. And there was no shortage of girls who knew how to say no. There was no shortage of girls who knew how to say no. You get to a girl, you had a girlfriend before she got broken in. You can get past second base. You might have been able to, fool around a little bit, feel a little bit. But now, a lot of that stuff, that was like all that wholesome shit, man, back then. It's just gone. It's gone. So you got to protect you. So if you have kids today, you got to be wary. You got to be aware of all of that stuff. That's why I said, man, for me and the wife, we just kept our daughters busy. They went to, both of them went to co-ed schools, but they were Christian schools for what that was worth. It cost me a lot of money, and I'm paying taxes everywhere, but still. So I thought those were good decisions for us. But I just wanted them to get to adulthood without carrying somebody's baby, without being married, and I accomplished that. So now they're on their own in terms of mentally. But still, it's a lot more complicated today. I'll give all the Gen Zs and the millennials. You tell me it's more complicated today, you broke me, and it damn sure is, and I don't envy you.
Yeah, it is. It is different, man. Trey Ferguson, me and Trey Ferguson pretty much in the same ballpark. Man, we were coming up, man. We had a high school. Our high school was a school where they would actually send all the pregnant girls to our one school from all over the city. If you got pregnant, you went to that school. And for us, it was like, dang, man, y'all got pregnant.
Right, look at that.
And they would go to school, they'd be wild in the class or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they would kind of break us up as the football team. They was like, well, on your homeroom or whatever, you go down there and you take care of the babies. So the fellas like, man, this ain't for me, bro. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of taught the fellas, hey, it's consequences out here to making babies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the coach really didn't want us to be out here willy-nilly. So of course, we had to, go down there and volunteer our time, to go down there. But for, back then it was like a one-off. You had one girl from this school, one girl from that school. There's maybe about 5 or 6 girls who got pregnant over the whole city. Now, man, you got 20 girls at one school that's pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And you really can't bust them all to one school. You'll have a showing up big old school. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you walk up to a girl, you got a kid? Yeah, oh yeah, you bust it open, don't you? You know what I'm saying? Your whole demeanor just changed when you walk up with a girl that already got a kid. It's like, no, we good. We good. You got some guys that be like, no, I ain't gonna do nothing serious with that. You can call or whatever, but it is what it is, because don't nobody really want to deal with that, man. And that's the dark side of being a father. Sometimes being a stepfather is difficult. I think you guys had a conversation about that the other day, man, about being a stepdad. You know what I'm saying? And that comes with its own challenges. How do you discipline, that type of thing? It's weird. So that's one of the things that we really need to talk to our kids about. Like, hey, if you want to be in that situation, here's some things that you don't think about. You know, you might get into it with the baby dad, or you might get into it with the baby mama. You know, that type of thing, that type of drama. You know what I'm saying? Do you want that on your record? You got a license to be an architect. Now you got to put that on the line, for dealing with some foolishness. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that we don't think about, man. So that's the reason why that's the real dark side of father. Sometimes we create these monsters, especially some of these women, they grow to be princesses because people like our painter told them you're the princess.
I don't think I was like that, man.
Yes, you
I
are.
don't say, but I hear it definitely come out of the baby boomers, man.
Yeah,
but,
man.
Maybe because I got married kind of not young, but I was like 29, but I was with my wife since 27, 26, 27 or so.
That's right. That is hilarious, man. But like I said earlier, we create these monsters, man. But rarely do I ever see a mother, telling a daughter, what to expect from a husband. Generally the conversation I hear is, drain them pockets.
Yeah, but that's not so unusual, Lit. But because, like I said, it's typical when you listen to these like male-female conversation, man, husband-wife conversation. It's always what the man has to provide, what he has to do. And when you get to the conversation with a woman, you say, well, okay, so for all of the shit that you want, what are you going to give this guy? They always try to derail that conversation from the giving you objective truth or whatever to some bullshit, right? They try to turn it on. That's not, men are super, they have all this conversation. It always turns back on the men as opposed to them just saying a few simple things. This is what I give them. I give my man peace. He sets the household and I make it a home. Even they can't even say that. Few women say that, but you very rarely say it. They always talk about what they want to extract from a guy as opposed to what they're going to give him. And that's a variation on that, the stupid term, like what you bring to the table. I think that messed up a real conversation because it's so cliche. It means that you're some red pill idiot, as opposed to just saying to the woman, not what you bring to the table. I'm asking you, what are you going to give a guy for all the shit that you want? And, and here's what kicks them. They know not to say, I'm giving them some box. Right? That's the easiest answer. They know not to say that because that's so.
You get that anywhere, man.
You get that shit anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
We already know,
it's
man.
Such a tough question for the women, man. It's crazy.
20 in the front and 4 in the back. You know what I'm saying?
So they're smart enough to know when they're thinking, I can't just say I'm giving them some box. I can't just say that. I gotta be more cerebral.
Right.
So so that's a good challenging question for women. What are you giving this guy for all this shit? You got lists, you got 25 items on your list. What are you going to give this guy for all of that?
And you know what I've been noticing to our pain? There's a lot of women, man, who are trying to get away with bad behavior by trying to create something out of nothing. Every time I'm flipping through channels or whatever, it's always some women complaining, here come another dude with a podcast and a microphone. That's the only thing. It said, them podcast bros. That type of thing. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, shaming guys with a microphone ain't gonna make you a better woman. You know that, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
You know that, don't you?
Crazy.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah. As long as these guys paying for their microphones and saying what they got to say, and you ain't doing what you got to do, you're gonna keep hearing it, whether you like it or not. How about that? From the podcast guys and the red pill guys. You know what I'm saying? They be killing me with that, man. Here's my whole thing. Shaming somebody else is not going to make you a better person. And I think that goes back to what our pain was saying, man, earlier about, not saying what you bring to the table, whatever. The real question is, are you prepared to be a wife? Are you prepared to be a mother? Could you give me some examples of where you've been trained to be a wife? Could you give us some examples on how you prepared to be a woman? Can you balance a budget? Do you mind if I look at your books? If we start running audits like that, it saps the romance right up out of all this and left the syrup, and all you left with nothing but oil. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you just hit on something else good too. You just hit on another thing. So many tentacles to this when they talk about, let's look at the books, right? Because there's a new thing out now, how uneducated Black men are, right?
Right.
And what one of the things is true. We need to have more Black men trying for higher levels of education, which doesn't necessarily mean college. But when these women say we got the degrees, we're educated and all that, they don't say what they're educated in, and they don't say how much debt they put themselves in to get it. And men are more practical than that. Like, I mean, even if we don't want to be, men are more practical than just going to college for something, just to say I can flex to say I have it. But that's a flex for women, just to have the degrees. And if they can't afford it, they don't mind getting into $100,000 of debt for shark fishing, underwater psychology. We want to measure how smart sharks are with the right sound waves. Like, how you going?
They ain't doing that.
It's a certain mentality, man. When you get people who try to glorify, degrees or whatever, those people who are content with being slaves for the rest of their lives. They want to get a quote unquote good job. They don't want to build anything. They're looking for the security of getting a paycheck every 2 weeks and going about their business. Most guys go out and they be captains of industry. When guys want to do something, they want to build their own business. And they learn usually by trial and error, whatever. And they usually hire people with degrees to come in and clean this other stuff up. But at the same time, their ideas, their blood, sweat, and tears, and their muscle actually makes the business go. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So it doesn't take going into hundreds of $1,000s of debt to prove who you say you are. It's all this crazy that you went to school and that's it. What kind of paper you got? And I promise you right now, a lot of people are finding out the hard way, not that the economy is turning, that your degree wasn't as valuable as you thought it was.
Did you hear what I said?
You know what I'm saying?
But y'all do
hiring for psychologists, you know what I'm saying? And especially if everybody at home, the last thing they're trying to do is hire psychologists. They're trying to make sure, hey, I got somebody who can teach me how to build a business. I can feed my family. That's what they're looking for. Go ahead, Trey, first.
No, y'all do know that they count going to school for a dental assistant and all of that as getting a degree, right? Y'all know that they count that. Right?
Every little thing,
right? But
you're working on mouths and stuff, people.
What? Listen, I worked at a college for about 1 year, right? And I was enrolling. I used to enroll students. The biggest issue with the sisters, which I found to be true in life for a lot of sisters, they don't know math.
No, they don't.
They're not good at subtracting, dividing, and multiplying. They're not good at that. That's why a lot of them be in debt, because they think about, I got the money for it, but they don't think about how that spending that money on one thing could affect every other thing in their life. And I used to sit there and get their test results back. Like, did you take this test? Yeah, the math part. And most of them struggle with in a word problem. You can forget that. And a lot of them can go into nursing. It's some women that are smart in numbers, but they may struggle with something else.
They struggle, even if they know the month, they struggle with the emotions of what they want because they need it now.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Even if they know it's wrong,
yes, they need it now.
And they can get it. They're gonna get it now. They don't look at the whole big picture.
Nope.
A lot of them don't.
And won't even go in the field of what they spend all their money for.
No, they don't.
It's funny though, but again, you keep touching on things because with my daughters, that was one of the two things when they were young. I mean, when we just first, I had two things on the list for their education: being able to read and not be afraid of math.
Yes.
And I bought toys, I bought everything to do those two things.
Yeah.
No matter how busy I was with my girls, I sat down with them and went over numbers, went over reading. And it's hard for people not to brag when their kids do all right. So my youngest,
shit, you can brag today.
My older brother told me, they wanted to skip her a grade, right, from nursery school to first grade, as opposed to skipping kindergarten, because she was reading in preschool, pre-nursery school at 3 years old. She was reading books to And my brother says, you could do that. He says, but it's all right. It's also something to consider for her being the big fish in the little pond.
Yeah.
As opposed to just let her go through the numbers, just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that makes sense. So she, I did it that way. And she was but both of them were able to read. I mean, they were just reading. And then when it came to numbers, my youngest, I couldn't even help her with her work. Man, statistics, I had to take statistics 3 times to get out of that goddamn school. She was getting A's on the statistics. I mean, statistics was a tough class.
Yeah, it's tough.
So I said, man, I just said, you know what? It's kind of funny. I kept my mouth shut on all the things that I had trouble with, like the SATs and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't a good test taker for that.
Right.
I never told them how I felt about those tests. I wouldn't poison their mind with my thoughts about it. And, so, I mean, I did a few things. I'm an asshole, but I did a few things right. Just a few. Now I'm thinking I could have done so much more.
But you know what? To speak to what Trey Ferg said, women who are actually good at math are a joy to be around because they understand the value of stuff.
And they're more logical.
Man, they're logical. Let me explain something to you. I used to sell jewelry back in the day, man. And we used to have these conversations. I used to ask women, how much do you think a 1-carat diamond costs? They would give me all type of wild answers like, oh, it costs $500,000. I'm like, sister, you think you're worth $500,000? Let's just be honest. You done worked your whole life, worked 50 years, and you ain't never made $500,000.
I'm supposed to put one on your finger.
You can tell the ones who don't buy stuff always the ones that want stuff. You know what I'm saying?
$500,000.
Right. You want to impress me. Just tell me it really depends on the cut, the clarity, and the color. And then now you got my attention because now you know what you're talking about. That's the difference between VS and VVS. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me, I'm on a diamond and jade and color. I'm like, see, now we can get mad because you know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So it really burns me, man, when people who don't understand money try to negotiate relationships. And you can tell too. You get into a relationship and it was like, well, I think that folding the clothes is way more harder than you got there cutting the grass. Okay, let's see if I think you're right. I think I should go ahead and be the man.
These clothes.
Being the leader, I'm gonna take the brunt of the heavy work and go ahead and fold these clothes. You go right outside and you do that light work, cutting that grass.
Bag it up and blow it, rake the grass.
And rake it all up. Man, by the time that sun get through beating down on that bag, that air conditioner. Yeah, that's what I thought. But they usually don't know. They're bad in relationships because they're not good at math. It's always the equation. It speaks to what our pain was talking about earlier, man. When you're in a relationship, you have to balance the equation. Everybody knows that on one end of the equation, you got the man, and he's supposed to provide and protect or whatever. But nobody ever fills in the blank on the other side where the woman is. Yeah. Now, the killing part about it is, I know what's on the other side. I'm just trying to see if you're going to solve for X or not.
Yeah. And when you find a woman that could articulate that, and there are a few, but too far in between. I got one for you, just a little tangent. When we say something about black women, and you always have to say not all, right? Instead of that, what I say is when I say something that sounds a little derogatory, I say, okay, maybe it's not all, but it's enough to make a difference. There's enough to like the bad things about our community. It's enough bad shit going on to make a difference. It really is. I mean, as simple as that. You don't need to have everybody being bad. You just have to have enough to make a difference, and it's a lot.
You know what I say, R-Pain. If it's more than 51%, it's a damn shame.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, unfortunately, our shit is over 50%.
If it's over 51%, it's a damn shame.
It sure is. So I don't know, man, what's the way out of it, but I think fathers are wrestling with most. Dads, we have the data, we have the receipts that most men who want to be fathers actually do a good job. If the roles were reversed, and if men didn't have to suckle babies, if the kids were with a father who wanted to take care of them, our society would be much better off, even if the woman wasn't involved.
Yeah.
like or involved the way they have men involved.
Yeah.
Because I think we would do a better job in raising kids.
But
Not
I
just
think,
not just sons, but daughters as well.
yeah, they've done studies over the last 40 years, and a father raising children alone is just as comparable as two-parent homes. They've been studying that since I was a teenager, and they've always came out the father raising the children as being favorable.
Okay, so Liz, I got one for you then. So the fact that the courts almost, especially not just with the black community, but the fact that the courts give the woman probably 75% chance to have the kids through the formative years. That's not because they have some affinity for women, because they know that that's the reason that the family is broken up. You know what I'm saying? It fits into what they want to happen. Because if they didn't do that, then the chaos wouldn't be in the society the way it is. Because chaos, if you're the puppet master, chaos is exactly what you want to control.
Absolutely.
Right? So they absolutely know that women raising kids by themselves is the absolute worst thing that can happen to both girls and boys.
Well, the thing about it is, it's easier to extract money from the father through the woman, because people will use pity for the woman to extract the money from the man. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. If a guy was getting child support from a woman, they would never advertise that. They would call him, less than a man. You can't take care of your children. You grown man. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, most men probably wouldn't even ask the chick, just leave me alone.
They
right?
won't.
Just leave me alone. Let me do what I got to do.
Right.
And that I would think that, to be honest, I think that's a mistake. She should pay something, but we ain't going to be taking her to court every week. We're not going to say she got a pay increase, so I'm going to beat her down. Men don't do that. Men, even when they're entitled to alimony, some of them forego all of that for their wives. Or when a woman lies on a man, almost ruins his career, they don't press any charges.
Nope.
They don't, so we give them grace at every turn, even when they wrong us. It's crazy. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop.
Well,
We got
the system itself is falling in on itself because it doesn't add up. The money doesn't add up anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think a lot of people are changing laws now. They're changing attitudes. They're not paying for the deletion of babies anymore. They've defunded Planned Parenthood. All the stuff that promotes debauchery and promotes not making good decisions, they're basically cutting the rug from under that. Now, to that, I say about time. Because I think one of the dark sides of fatherhood is finding a woman worth raising kids well.
Did you hear what I said?
You know what I'm saying? I think that is probably one of the things that men really need to think about.
I agree with you.
Really need to talk about when it comes to making kids, because that makes a difference in your family tree and how it's going to look, man. There's certain women I don't let get nowhere near me. I'm like, sister, you don't qualify for this family tree. You know what I'm saying? As much as they think that they're the bee's knees or whatever, I say, you don't know what we doing over here. And all this ratchetness that you got going on over here, it's not allowed over here. We don't do that. We don't create babies, out of thin air. You know what I'm saying? We are intentional when it comes to building our families, because we got, plans. We do stuff we supposed to do, and they don't understand that. They just feel like, oh, I'm going to have a baby and I'm going to put you on child.
Did you hear what I said?
No, ma'am. We don't do that.
I am hard, but I am fair.
Listen, I'm hard, but I'm fair. But if you come over here with that foolishness, you got to go.
For sure.
No, you're right, though, man. You're absolutely right. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's just, I don't know what else to say. But I mean, there's another case, just to what you're saying, Lit. Stupid guy, Anthony Edwards, has 4 baby mamas. He's 23 years old. He's going to get the bag. He's going to make $500 million before his career is over.
Right.
But this last kid that he hates the woman so much, he don't want to have nothing to do with the kid, right?
Right.
And so that's indicative. But if you go through the backstory, she did everything she can to extract the money out of this guy, even up to and including getting pregnant. So he can't stand her, and he can't stand her so much. Even these guys with these multiple kids, very seldom do you hear a story that they don't want to have nothing to do with the kid or the mother.
Right. And the killing part about it is, dude said, "You know what? I don't want to do this with you, Judge. Give me 216 months for a child support. Run that for me, right?
Just run the numbers, man. I'll just pay it. I'll just give me the numbers. I don't have to even see this chick or her kid."
And the killing part about it is, I think when he did that, he shone a light on how nasty the child support system is.
Absolutely.
And what he did was he turned it more transactional than people really wanted to think about and stare down the face. See, here's the thing. When it's a woman nickel and diming you, making adjustments from time to time,
right,
she's doing the best that she can. You know what I'm saying? She, all that good stuff. And then on top of it, he was like, let's go ahead and get this out the way. You know what I'm saying? How much is it going to cost?
Right.
260 months. Josh, run the numbers so I can cut the check. So she don't come back.
Exactly. She didn't want this kid because she had some love and affection for me. She wanted the bag. And she wanted to use the kid to get the bag. So let's stop playing this game. Let me give her the bag. I don't want to have anything to do with the kid. And that's too bad for the child. But you know what? But here's the problem. He's going to say he gives her $5 million, right? Let's just say that's the settlement. She's going to spend that in 2.5 years.
Yeah, she'll blow it.
She's going to blow it in 2.5 years or less. And then she's going to try to come back and reopen the negotiation.
There's no coming back. Once they run the numbers, that's it.
Well, the court still may or may not accept it. It's up to the court. If he has good attorneys, it'll happen.
But it's still going to be up to the judge.
Here's the thing. How are you going to be in the arrears if you paid up front?
No. What you're saying is correct. What I'm saying is she can't come back if he pays it off through that 200 and how many months is it?
216 months.
See, if he pays up that 216 months based off his current salary, over $1 million, I pay, let's go $3 million just to make it fair. Yeah. She ain't thinking about that kid once she get that bag. She gonna run this shit up. It's gonna be all on TikTok, purses, 6-inch heels, wigs, trips, all the dumb shit. But it's just
that's funny. Now 216 is going to be the new number that everybody's going to know.
You put it on your shirt, 216.
216, yeah. That one, I'm gonna take it. You might hear me saying that.
It's going to go viral. It's going to go viral. The community knows how to multiply.
Yeah,
they know how to take 12 and times it by 18. You know what I'm saying? I give them credit.
That sounds like financing a car for 216 months.
There you go.
All more educated for Anthony educated.
There you go.
Anthony Edwards educated the community. It's 216.
A low rate of 216 $2,000 a month.
So funny, man.
One lump sum. You know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you, I think the judge, first of all, you got to get the right judge, because some judges want to put their name in the record books for changing something that never happened before.
Yeah, but
did you guys see what's that? What's the women who went to NASA? The movie
Danica Patrick.
No, the movie with the black sisters who were working at NASA.
Hidden Numbers.
Hidden
Figures, yeah.
The best scene in that movie was when the lesbian went to what's her name? The dark skin. The dark skin. She went into the judge and she had to get into
I know you're talking about. Yeah, so
she gave him. She said, "Judge, what's out of all them cases you got? What case is gonna make you first? What case is going to put your name in the record books?" And, that's why I need to go to that school. He said, you got a point. He let her go to the school. So a judge might look at setting a precedent. because your name goes into the record books if you can set a precedent. So if he allows Anthony Edwards to just pay 216, based on 216 months, that's going to be a first, and we're going to start seeing a lot more of it with rich men.
I don't think you'll never see that in our lifetime. Because if it's true what they said about some states and they're getting a kickback, they rather get that 216-month kickback than to take that.
Take a piece out of that.
No, get one go straight to her.
Yeah,
the state don't get no part of that.
Yeah,
see, that's what people don't realize. What he's doing, he's bypassing
all
the system and giving the money straight to the kids, so they can't nickel
and dime. But the judge can do that. The judge can the judge's ruling will bypass the state.
Yeah, his judge ruling. Yeah.
Think about it. It'll be a whole lot of judges that be mad if brothers like, you know what?
Let me go pay shit off.
Matter of fact, let me pay up this year in advance. Let me put this year on layaway right quick. You know what I'm saying?
And it's bad,
Yeah, I think brothers could pull off a year or two.
But the only problem about that, Lid, is that most brothers are living check to check, and they don't have that bag.
Oh, that's a rich man's game. Ain't the guy ain't never going to be able.
But where a man can get ahead of that whole game, though, even if he has to go through that 216, right, is that when that baby's at its earliest age, and they've already put that tag on you, you got your DNA, just go ahead and ask for all your rights right then. That's where you can get ahead, because what I used to tell guys, listen, because a lot of them have lived with her. Man, you can prove that you live with the woman. They don't put that bag on your head. My wife was telling me that it's like $20,000 to have a child through the state, and when they go through the state, they put that tag on the father, right?
Right.
But if they live with you, it eliminates a lot of that cost, and you can file the child on your taxes every other year because you don't have that overhead when you come in. So it's just for the guys, like working guys, and you got a child, the baby mama. Go get your DNA yourself, write stuff down, and you can get a lot of those laws in your favor. But when you try to fight it, when they come and tell you to go to court, that's when they start running you through the windmill. That's when they start playing with your money, right? But if you go and say, hey, I just want my exclusive rights as a father and your visits, and make sure you go pick up your child and visit your child and take your child when you say you're going to do it. After 10 years in the game, man, all of that money starts flipping back in your favor. So,
you know what? Here's the thing. I don't think people realize sometimes when we have these conversations, some of our conversations are so ahead of its time that it really didn't hit you until maybe about months or years later. Our pain, remember, I think it was maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I think we had Bubs the God on and a whole bunch of other people. And I said, we were out here worried about, transgender, this, that, and the other, and black men and black women fighting and racism. And over in China, they over there thinking of ways of making flying cars.
Right.
Well, guess what? Yesterday, they put out there they was flying cars. You know what I'm saying? They got flying taxis now. So, I'm here to tell y'all in this example, I'm going to give you another example how child support system is going to change in the future if we don't get it right. So instead of having people paying child support, they're going to use it. They're going to put children on the blockchain. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And they're going to start using smart contracts to pay out people child support based upon cryptocurrency and stuff like that. So that way it'll eliminate going through the court. Everything I be on a record, you'll be able to keep it or whatever. And I'll assure you that's going to be the next evolution. If we don't get this straightened out, the next evolution of child support. And the killing part about it is, how women always say, well, I didn't know he had, these many kids. Well, shit, baby, did you check the blockchain? Did you see where he was paying child support? You know what I'm saying? So women will no longer have excuse for having multiple babies, by different men, because all they have to do is check the blockchain and be like, oh, no. You already got kids. I can't have no kid with you. You know what I'm saying? So basically it's going to eliminate all the excuses that people come up with. So watch what I tell you. Somebody going to come up with what I'm telling y'all probably about the next few years. And y'all going to be like, they said it first on Black Man Unfiltered, man. They're going to start putting people on the blockchain, what I'm saying, child support. So I know it sounds weird now, because usually when I give y'all glimpses into the future, it sounds stupid until later on. I'll be like, I told you so. I told you. Remember I was telling you about them flying taxi cabs and cars a couple of weeks ago, and next thing you know, they got it on the news today. Usually I'm ahead of the curve, man. That's usually how it is. I've lived my life like that.
No, we can't, we can't do that stuff that China does because they don't put these, you can't have local, state, and all these regulations between you and getting a job done.
Right.
Because they try to put a high-speed rail into California, from San Francisco down to LA. It was awarded in like 2008. They don't got none of it done. They spent like $5 billion already.
Well,
and it ballooned from 33 billion to 128 billion dollars.
You know what the problem is, our pain? We like to drag our feet, man. People don't realize that between 2008 and 2025, I think money has gotten more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The highway that you was planning on building in 2008 don't cost the same. Like the kids say, yesterday's price is not today's price. You know what I'm saying? You can't go down to Home Depot like, hey, let me get a 2x4 for $24. Nope.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
No, you don't quite get the same amount of money that you get.
It's crazy.
You drag your feet with bureaucrats and red tape or whatever. It makes things more expensive. And I think that's probably the reason why people don't understand when Trump tries to get rid of regulations and stuff like that. It's just to move the process along so it doesn't cost us as much. But the average person who doesn't do dollar cost average will never understand the math that it goes to when you start building stuff like that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Bill Maher, whether you like him or not, he's a liberal, right?
Right.
So he wouldn't do too much. He's starting to convert a little bit, not to being a Republican or anything, but he's starting to see the error in his ways in some areas. He tried to put solar panels in his house. It took him 1,100 days to just get solar panels. Over 3 years, because regulations, and even down to the point where, like, if he had an inspection and then the next inspection came in, but the previous guy is no longer working, so the new guy comes in and says, oh, that guy's stuff, he made a couple of mistakes here, so we got to redo all of this stuff. And what he didn't do was make a big stink out of it. He just made it into a joke. But that's not a joke. The reason why he was able to joke about it because he had the money for those delays. Most people don't have nothing. I mean, you're trying to get something done. It took 3 years to put solar panels on because you have all these layers of bureaucracy. And that's crazy. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. And, so that's why Trump is doing what he's doing. But, a lot of shaky people with the barbecue. Man, you looking at your numbers and shit. You say, man, I hope you're right, Trump. I hope you're right.
Nah, listen, I've had to let some women go, man, because when the minute I mention Trump, they have a conniption.
Oh, yeah,
man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can't believe.
Why do you think women hate Trump so much? Especially black women.
I'm going to tell you why, man. Trump secretly is removing the things that will allow them to be the identity of who they think they are. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah,
if somebody is taking away your identity of who you think you are, you're going to have a problem with them.
Right.
Right. Think about it, man. A lot of women who lean on Section 8 or whatever, they'll tell you, I'm a homeowner. They kind of bend the truth a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Or they say they got it out the mud, but you got a special scholarship for women, of color, that type of thing. A little DEI soup from time to time, you know what I mean?
You're absolutely, you're right. It's all those elements, right? I think especially with black women, since they're so used to so many men capitulating to their wills, their screams and stuff. He ain't taking that shit. You come at me with energy, I'm coming back at you. Not just black women, any woman, right? He says, I'm a man, you're a woman, And my natural order of things, the way I think, is me here and you here. And they can't stand that shit, man.
It's
And that's why some,
like he's removing their identity. You know what I'm saying? It's like everything that allows them to be extra sassy.
Right.
He's eliminating that, you know.
He said, you can play that game with your boys, but you can't play that shit with me. You know, because I can't see anything he's done extra special to make black women hate him as much as they do.
I can point out several things.
I mean, I'm just saying in terms of him being a man. I mean, he hasn't physically hurt a black woman.
No, he don't say that.
We don't have enough conservative black women. That's the problem we have.
Amen to that.
We don't have enough conservative black women.
And you know, the killing part about it is most women are conservative. They just don't know it yet, man. They just don't know it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. 1,000 watts.
What's going on, man?
What's happening, man? How to put it in your name, brother? 100 watts. What's happening, man?
100, man. Yeah.
I'm trying to multiply you, brother.
Well, shit, that's what I'm trying to do with my bankroll, so I ain't mad at it. Look.
That's right, man. Anytime you can add to it, man, it's all right. What's up, brother? I know you've been watching the conversation, man. What's going on? What you got to add to the conversation?
I've been watching for a minute, and y'all then hopped over to a few different places, and I just
jump on in, man, like Double Dutch, man. When it's a barbershop, you can talk what you want to talk about.
I mean, look, I wanted to provide the Pookie perspective because y'all was talking
come
about
on in.
child
Come on inside and get yourself something cool.
Come on.
You gonna provide what? The Pookie perspective?
From the come on, brother. Come on.
You muted, bro.
There you go. Come on. I think you muted on the other side.
Yeah.
You muted the microphone and you muted your StreamYard. There you go.
I hope he got a good Pookie perspective story. It's a good Pookie. Not the bad Pookie.
We gotta hear this shit, man.
Yeah, we gotta hear the good Pookie.
Hey, that might be the Lord shut the mic off.
We still can't hear you, brother. We still can't hear you.
I'm telling you, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, man. We had cutting their mic off. I stand them with the Lord.
Say something.
Come on, man. I know you got it. Nope, still can't hear you, man.
You might have to reset your whole browser.
There you go. Go in and come back out. Go ahead, R-Pain. But like I said earlier, man, when you take away somebody's identity, you know, everything that allows you to be who you are, man, you're gonna be in trouble, brother. You know, you can't go out there and make babies and then go get them scraped out and call yourself virtuous.
No, absolutely
you know
not.
what I'm saying? You can't go around being extra sassy and say what you want to say, you know, and guys don't want to deal with you no more, you know. Now all of a sudden, you know, guys don't want to take you out on dates. I don't want to eat here, and I want to eat. And all of a sudden, guys, let's tell you what, fellas, they just got on the phone. We ain't taking nobody out. If you go on a date, make sure she pay for it. Make sure she sent you the cash app first. You know,
that's the most ridiculous thing I heard. I mean, listen, man, you know, the only thing I think men need to do is have discriminators, eliminators.
Right.
If I'm talking to a woman I want to meet or talk to, as soon as she says I gotta pay to meet her, that's probably the last conversation you should ever have with her. You know what I'm saying? I mean, somebody said, well, you send me a cash app and then maybe we could talk about that. That's crazy.
No, all I got to do, let me tell you, this is what I do, R-Pain, to run them off. I say Kevin Samuels, I say Trump, and if they balk any one of them, they got to go. You know what? They got to go. If they cringe, they shake. If they shake after that, like, ma'am, you didn't qualify. You didn't pass the Kevin Samuels test, and you sure as hell didn't pass the Trump test. So you can't play on these playgrounds over here. It's for grown people only over here. Come on, 1,000 watts. Let's see if you got your mic going, man.
Mic check. We good?
Yeah, you good. Come on, give me perspective why you got it going on, man.
No, it was a particular part of the conversation y'all were having that I found interesting. I had 4 kids, 2 different women, a headache. You know, it's a fucking headache.
Yeah.
Right. But the part that I'm finding to be interesting right now is the second young lady who's buried my children. I am currently with her right now, and I'm enjoying this social experiment that I got going on right now. Because for the longest, there's been a lot of complaints about how much I work and I get home and I'm tired and yada yada and blah 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 and all that other kind of shit. So now we rolled this social experiment where, you know what, I want you to be the primary income in the house. Now is your responsibility. So that same 50 hours that I was doing in order for us to cover what we need, now I'm giving you that 50 hours. So it's been fun watching the whole process of her doing the work that I do and coming home and sleeping all day, even though that was what she was complaining about from me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you not as attentive with the kids as I am, but now you sleep. So now you starting to see the shit.
Have you talked to her and said the kids need their mom? Have you ran that past them yet?
I to be honest with you, it sounds a lot more messed up than what I really intended to be. But I'm a proponent of fuck them kids.
Wow.
Because sometimes I think it's way too easy to use the kids as an excuse for some bullshit.
Right. As leverage. So
I think that's crazy. And the other part that y'all got me on too was the child support in the court system, because them states are getting kickbacks and they get an extra. So they get an extra. I'm finding out that they get an extra kickback if if the mother is on social services.
Yes, sir.
If they find the father,
they go
get
find
an extra
you
kickback, because now you get to pay back the money that they was getting in
to
TAN
the state
food stamps and shit.
Yeah.
So the court can get two separate kickbacks from the same fucking baby daddy, basically.
But, before you go on, so we got two things you said on the table. But let's go back to the first part, right? Because there's a lot to unpack with both the things you just said. I mean, the courts thing is this court thing. So
let's get back to
this experiment that you have with the second lady. She went out and she found a job that can cover the bills and stuff. So are you still working your job at the same time, or did you change roles completely?
No.
He's staying at home. He's chilling.
He's staying at home. So let me ask you, in that experiment, are you handling the kids at the house a little bit more orderly at your home?
Here's what I'll say. The home is better cared for in her hands. I will willingly admit that.
Okay.
Right? Like the house gets cleaned faster with me. I don't take 2 hours to clean the kitchen, right? But she's more prone to doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
So the house is in better care in her hands. I will never step on that. However, the efficiency has gone up exponentially around here. Like exponentially.
In other words, to translate, it gets done when I feel like doing it.
But that shit be done though. It be done. It be done.
Because but the following thing is that the kids listen to you on one command or two commands as opposed to just kind of hand waving the woman, right? I mean, isn't that part of it? In terms of the discipline and respect that kids have for a male voice. If they're in the house, I don't know how many kids you're talking about, but how old they are. But they will tend to be more your voice and telling them, hey, listen, I'm doing this now. I need y'all to go over here. I need y'all to do this.
Right.
They'll probably listen to you a lot easier than they probably listen to their mom.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. It's gotten to the point now to where a lot of times they'll avoid asking me for stuff because they're waiting for their mother to come home, because they know, because with their mother they'll fool around and eat 4 or 5 times a day with their mother. No, you get 3 square meals with me. You get 3 square meals, and if things are going the way that it needs to, I'll give you a snack somewhere here in the middle. But you getting 3 square meals here. You shouldn't be coming to me every 45 minutes talking about, Daddy, I'm hungry. Why are you hungry? You ain't did shit today, bro. Like why are you hungry? But mommy being the mommy, it says, come on, guys, let's go make peanut butter. No, for what? For why? And then it is always fun, because it's fun now. Like I said, the social experiment, it's fun seeing it the other way around, because I would come home from work and see him just eating craziness. Like you're eating goldfish and gummies right now while your mother's cooking dinner. Like, what is happening right now?
You know what the difference is? I'm gonna tell you what the difference is. The difference is when we were younger, if we wanted something to eat, they would give us a whole damn watermelon, cut it up, sit it outside, and we would eat that. You know what I'm saying?
Go feed you up real quick.
And man, you talking about you would not be hungry for the rest of the day until it was dinner time. So by the time you got through chopping up the watermelon, chasing flies, waving them away, you know what I'm saying? So you can eat and running outside playing, you would have forgotten all about that. You would have had fiber, you'd have been hydrated, you know, you would have got all the vitamins and stuff that you needed, and it was fun. Ain't no vitamins in goldfish. You know what I'm saying?
So is there?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Is there? I was gonna let you go, but is there a natural end to this experiment, or will y'all switch back?
Oh yeah. There is a natural end, and the natural end is when she gonna blow her top, and I see it coming very soon.
What's blow top?
So for me, the point that I'm trying to prove is I am doing everything I can to try and take care of this household. I'm not going to work for 50, 60 hours because I feel like it.
Right.
I'm not going to work for 50, 60 hours because I like my coworkers. No, I'm doing this because I'm trying to take care of the family. And the results of that is a side effect of me taking care of my family. Sometimes I come home and I'm tired, and no, I don't feel like playing. I'm not reading no good time story. Like sometimes I don't feel like doing it. I'm tired. Yeah. I just worked 11 days in a row. The point of the experiment for her, for me, is getting her to see the perspective of I'm not doing this because I'm playing with you. Like there is a real reason as to why things are turning out the way that they're turning out. And if you trust and believe in the process, then it's going to change for the better, because I already have a 3-year plan on getting going from working on the floor to making management. You know what I'm saying? Like I have my plan already in place, and you're not trusting the plan. That's why you're complaining all the time.
So brother, let me ask you this. And you know, this is a great conversation, man. I ain't gonna lie, man, because you're right in the life of brothers are afraid and sisters are afraid to do, but you're also in the dynamic to where we in this feminist mood, right? Because right, you're trying to give her a traditional role, and she's sort of fighting against it. I think in our opinion, you said all the time, bringing calm to a woman's chaos. She was thinking totally opposite of making sure the family is okay, and you were, as a man, took the burden to provide and protect for your family. But she's in a lot of women struggle. It's not just, you know, not saying your wife or whatever, but a lot of women struggle when they're at home and have to create order for themselves. And it's hard to follow through. Like you said, the children are a little bit more disciplined in the things that they do. I believe they're probably a little bit more calm, and the fact that they're avoiding you and they know how to ask questions to get what they want to mama. And then you saw it. So this is a unique situation. I think if this is a great model for young couples, really. But you're being determined, and you're actually bringing that balance to everybody. And I don't think it's going to go to the whole year to where she want to be out there when that weather change. It sound good when the spring hit and the flowers blooming. But when that fall leaves start, I think she's going to be like, listen, you go ahead. But do you think that she would want to grow once this is over to say, listen, I understand, you the damn man, you the prize, and we're going to rock out? The hell with what everybody else saying. Because a lot of people y'all age like, girl, don't do it. It's slave. It's struggle. No, I think it's the greatest thing that can happen.
That's completely up to her.
Okay,
that's completely up to her. I mean, I know what it is that I'm hoping for. Like, of course, because I am hoping to keep the family together and have a mother and a father in a home and all of those things. Of course, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm trying to do the work to make sure that happens. But yeah, no, I'm not going. No. I'm not carrying another grown adult. Like, no.
You know what? That's fantastic. I know exactly what you're doing. You're teaching her the appreciation for what you do. And I think a lot of women, if they could be put in this particular situation, they would pretty much appreciate what men do. That's just saying, you know, hey, I am the table, this, that, and the other. Well, let's just see. You know what I'm saying? If you did what I did, let's just see. But, you know, I don't really think that you're giving her the full experience. And let me explain to you what I mean. Brother, I think you should really take care of yourself. I think you should go get your nails done. I think you should get your toes done. I think you should take yourself shopping and buy yourself something handsome to wear. You know, I think you should get you new shoes. You know what I mean? Go shopping a little bit, you know. You want to make sure you're looking good when she come in the house. Get you some silk pajamas. You know what I'm saying, man? Get you something for your hair, you know, looking and stuff, you know what I'm saying? I think you should do that. You know what I'm saying? Give her the full experience of what it's like to be the breadwinner. You know what I'm saying?
See, and you know what? When I first started this experience, I wanted to start out and be dramatic as that. I wanted to do that, but I kind of felt like it would take away from the point that I wanted to make, trying to be petty.
You got to ease it in there, man. You know how they ease shit on us? You got to ease it on her too. Listen, you ain't got to get your toes done today. You know what I'm saying? Wait about another 2-3 more weeks and then turn it into a habit. You know what I'm saying? That's how they do us. And then, well, you know, if you expect me to release my masculinity, you know what I'm saying? You got to step into your femininity. You know what I'm saying? You got to put all of that stuff in there, man.
My birthday in less than 30 days, so we're gonna see how that go.
Oh, invite all your friends. Listen, invite all your friends to dinner. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, you know, and you know I ain't working, you know, the fellas, you know, hey, the fellas want you to, you know, take care of the tab for them. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I need you to take care of the tab. You gotta buy me the suit. You gotta buy me the suit that I'm gonna wear that night out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, get you the sash that says bad brother. You know, how they put bad bitch on there. Get your
locks done and everything.
You know what I'm saying? Make sure you get in there. Bad brother. Bad brother. You know what I'm saying? Get all of that on there.
That sounds mighty spicy. That sounds sassy.
I'm just saying, man. You got to go all out, you know? You got to go full sass, as the women say.
Nah, but I do think that I do have a different respect for parenting, being in the house all day.
Yeah,
I definitely have a different respect for it, because boy, my youngest is 5. So the 2 that I have with me is 8 and 5, and the 8-year-old is on spring break this week, so they both been in the house together all this week. And like I said, it's been a all right. So this is what your mama be dealing with all day. All right, okay, you know what I'm saying? Because it has been beneficial for me. Like I do realize that I'm probably gonna have to, you know what I'm saying, pull off a little bit on her. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to pull off a little bit. I do be a little, my expectations do be a little high. Like there was a while where I used to be one of them, yo, why is there dishes in my sink type of nigga? But that's like calm down, bro. It's not that serious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was about to ask you, now that you're in her shoes, what have you discovered that has changed your mind on what you thought it was gonna be now that y'all switch roles?
Without having to go to work, it's hard as hell to get out to bed in the morning.
Yeah,
I know what you mean, bro.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, without having a job, it's just sometimes I'll look at my phone and be like, oh, 12:30. God damn, I need to get up.
Days fly by, don't it?
I woke up at 4:30 today, brother. I know what you mean. So, brother, let me ask you this question, though.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, do you have days, you know, just being a father and, you know, having little small kids, do you find days in the week, like on nice days that there are now, just sort of get outside, get to a little park, let them run, burn that energy? Because that can make a major difference by midday, man. I was like, let's get outside, and because now they can just explore without me directing, and the house has been, but you know, just so when they get home, they eat, ready to take a bath and go to sleep for real. So
again, I'm learning a lot about myself. My patience level is mad low.
Hey, brother,
I ain't gonna lie to you. Last time I took them to a park,
okay.
Look, man, last time I took them to a park, we was there for maybe 30, 45 minutes. And was like, all right, pack it up. Let's get up out of here. I don't have to. I'm not here for this. My patience level just don't be there. Especially when it comes to dealing with other people's kids. I have a very hard time with other people's kids. But in terms of them being outside, the neighborhood that I live in is pretty deep. It's pretty good about the kids in the area being outside. So it's not hard to be like, all right, you know what? Go grab your scooter. Y'all go outside. Go run yourself tired. And in this area, be easy, just like when we grew up. Go outside and play. And when the street lights come on, you come back in the house. And I can stay in my driveway and I can look to the right. I can see where they're at. I can look to the left. I can see where they're at. There's kids outside everywhere. So whenever I need to send them out there, they can go.
Yeah, just take a book outside, your lawn chair, man. Sit out in the driveway, your little cold beverage.
You know what? This is the time, man, where you could be teaching them some of life's lessons. You know what I'm saying? Like, say for instance, like, don't be running over there. And they're like, that's dad. He ain't listening to me. And you look at over another dad. Look, they finna get on that hot ass slide. They got them shorts. So watch this. Watch this.
Go burn this skin.
Sounded like some cool bees on the grill. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm gonna tell you, the park is the number one place where I am bound to get in trouble.
Uh-oh.
Why you say that?
Because for one, not many daddies is taking their kids to the park. So
True.
we're taking the kids to the park.
That.
The mamas. So when the mamas see your daughters are so beautiful and they look just like you. Oh my God. And you're outside with bruh.
Man, they hitting on
that shit gets me, bro. What?
That's hitting on you.
And I'm not saying it to gas myself.
I know how I feel,
crazy.
Brother. You ain't the most. I know.
I use puppies, but kids work pretty good too.
I was handsome one time too, man. I know how you feel, bro. I was young and handsome too, man. I'm with you, man. I only want you to explain that side of the stuff. I know. But you seem like you're a well-disciplined guy. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. You can be eye candy every day, man, but your focus, man, is in the right place, man, with your family, man, and it'll pay off, man. So I know it's hard, man. It's hard, brother.
Enjoy the aha moments, man. Enjoy the aha moments. You know, when they be like, "Damn, Dad was right." Like, I'm trying to tell your ass. You don't listen to me. Watch, they gonna start paying attention then.
What is also great in my growth as being a father is as close as me and my father have gotten. My father and I have gotten like extreme.
Got something to relate to now, man. You know,
and it happened during COVID because we do a podcast every Wednesday called Pops Knows Best. It's just me and him. We talk shit back and forth. We get to bounce our perspective off of each other, right?
Right.
He raised 3 boys. I have 3 girls and a boy. So his perspective of what being a father is completely different than what mine was, because he raised boys and we was raised to be dogs. And now he sees my daughters and he's like, you got
soft as marshmallows, ain't it?
Man.
He like, let them girls do what they want.
Got them grandbabies, you know.
No, but it's amazing because all the time I have a conversation with him and be like, yo, Pops, I love you, man. Like the stuff that you would say to me when I was a kid that didn't make any sense to me makes so much sense now watching my kids. I cannot explain how appreciative I am of having my father as a father. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that shit is unexplainably beneficial in my life.
Yeah, you'll be surprised, man. Your dad gets wiser and wiser the older you get. Or it's gonna start making sense, man. Trust me.
And what's funny is it also reminds me that father-son thing is never gonna go away. Because like you said, as he's getting older, he's getting wiser. But I start getting wiser and they'd be like, maybe my wisdom ain't too far off from this motherfucker. And then it just something happened, like, all right, yeah, I am still like 20 years off of you, dog. My fault.
And you'll come to realize that everything he was telling you, about 99% of it was true.
Yeah, the 20-year head start. What you think?
Yeah, I'm just saying though, because when you're young, you sort of like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. And then you in and you going through like, oh, you know what, that was right again. You know, in those moments of wisdom, and then you start, especially like 2 years, you gonna run into some stuff he told you that would have happened And you like, now it's happening. You like, damn, he right again.
He right again.
You know, so that just builds a greater bond, man. I salute to you and your pops, man, for real, man. For real.
I'm from y'all's perspective, what would you say was like a difficult transition in terms of like parenting your kids? Was it like becoming a teenager? Was it now you outgrown and doing your own thing? Like what was a difficult transition for your parenting?
R-Pain, you can go.
Yeah.
And then Trey first.
He has 2 girls.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's a good question. I think difficult is not the word I would use. I think I always anticipated a natural transition from my girls being adolescents to teenagers to college to adults. And one of the things I had I kept in my mind is as they grew older, the conversations and the things I expect from them and our conversations with them had to mature. You know what I'm saying? Once they got old enough, especially because they both went away to college, but they were close. You know, they were like within 20 miles of me when they went away to college, but I wanted them to get that away from home experience. So as they got older, my conversation with them matured, you know, because I was giving them deference. I didn't want to treat them like little girls anymore, right? Because I had 2 daughters. So I really didn't have any problem with the transition because I knew it was going to come. When they were teenagers, I treated them like teenagers. When they went to college, I treated them like young adults trying to find their way. And then when they got their jobs and now they're making their own money, I treat them like women. You know, and our conversations are, instead, I'm always the dad. I had to talk my oldest daughter a couple of times. So listen, remember, now we ain't friends. I'm your pops, you know. We ain't friends. So let's not get too familiar. You know, so when you talk to me, we have to have that certain baseline of respect. But now I treat them like women. So the conversation is more like I'm more of a mentor, father mentor. And since that my daughters, both of them are not married, I'm still the man who's covering them.
Yeah.
You know, and I told them that. I said, listen, you know, the reason why I want you both to get married is because women can't project this way. I said, listen, you might be all this woman shit right now, but when you're in your 40s and 50s, if your biological clock closes, you're not going to be thinking the same way. Right? So this whole feminist shit, you don't need no man and all this kind of stuff, they ain't that bad. But I'm just saying, I want y'all to have a guy covering you so I can go to sleep at night. I want a man that I could trust, because just like I did with my wife's father. So our conversations change. I have family dinners when they come home. At least once a week. One of my daughters is out of the house. The other one still lives with me, and she's 26. So I have dinner. So when we come together, we have conversations. And those conversations, we talk about a lot of different things. And it's adult shit, right? Because they're out in the world now. They're working, you know. And so I didn't have any real trouble with the transition at all, because I anticipated it. And even though it sounds like retrospect, but it was true. Like I was older. My youngest daughter, I was 41 when I had my youngest daughter. So when my oldest, I was 30, 35, 34. So my household was kind of already kind of settled, you know, with me and the wife. So when they came into our house, we had the house, we had, you know, we were stable. So I didn't have to grow up at all with my kids. So my mental was a little bit more mature. So I kind of anticipated a couple things. Then when I had girls, I bought some books, you know, to read on how to raise girls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I had boys, it would have been different, because I know, like I said before you got here, if I had sons, it would have been a little different. You have to be cerebral with girls, with boys too. But if your son, you know, says too much shit, you could brace his ass, right? You can grab him, throw his ass around the room.
No, you can't.
You can't do that with girls. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look. Through my teenage years, all my t-shirts, the collar of all my t-shirts, all that right here.
So I was prepared. I guess I was prepared to raise girls, man.
Yeah.
So that's my answer to that. You know, I didn't have any real trouble. I was anticipating transitions for them. And my goals that I had for them, they met. I want them to get through their teenage years without carrying some assholes babies. Excuse me, anybody out there like that. I didn't want them to get pregnant out of wedlock. Right? My girls didn't have no boyfriends when they were in those teenage years. Those 16 years old, I got a boyfriend. No.
For sure.
They were just busy. I had them busy all the time. They had shit. I was driving them to practice for this, the music, the sports, the this, the that. And then, once they matured, then they started making some of their own choices. And I had my conversation with them. Don't make no mistakes you can't come back from.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff. The birds and the bees. If you're going to have sex, make sure that guy's wrapped up. I don't care how much you like him. And that stuff. So now that they're grown women, they can make some choices on their own now. I don't try to dictate that.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Farr, it was on you, brother. Appreciate
it.
Yeah.
You asked a great question, man. Like I have a son, he just turned 21 in January. And the conversations my father used to give to me, he gave it to me just because. It wasn't a time where something blew up, then he wanted to have this long conversation. You know what I'm saying? He talked to me even in times of peace, driving in the car, just pointed out certain things, certain type of little things to look out for. And, he used to ask me questions on how I felt. And then what do I think? And he's an old school guy. He wasn't go give me a long question. He just gonna expect the answer, make sure I understood it. And he spent time with me. Me and my father had some similar interests. He played sports. I played sports. We watched a football game, and he'd show me how to do stuff one time. He at least showed me and made me do all the work. I was a boy. I'm doing all the work. He just the teacher, the instructor. And I think that was some of the greatest things he ever did. And he kept it real, man. My father kept it age appropriate. He kept it real. And that's one thing I appreciated, because when I started dealing with people outside of my family, then a lot of people couldn't get on my nerves. I wasn't going to let you bother me. I wasn't going to let you run down that stupid stuff. And I knew how to follow my gut instinct. You know what I'm saying? You guys, young people, they get into dumb shit. You ain't leading me. If we was all hanging out, you ain't leading me. I'm doing it because I want to. And if you're going to do something stupid, breaking in cars and busting out windows, count me out. You know what I'm saying? I just was able to make good decisions like that. I knew I wanted to do something out the high school. I went to college, dropped out, joined the military. Finished the military, went back to school, took care of that. I always wanted to be, the picnic guy. You can come to my house and get some ribs on cookout day. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to throw football with you. One thing I learned, even with my son when he was younger, I was never too tired to give him 10 minutes. Even if I had to sit down on the floor with him and fall asleep on the floor. That was just me. I'm a Gen Xer, man. We worked through it. It wasn't like, if I can give you 10 minutes, that 10 minutes may be all you need. And I'm going to go on about the rest of my day. I'm going to show you.
With that one.
I'm sorry. Huh?
You fucked me up with that one.
What you mean?
No, in a good way. I'm never too tired to give him 10 minutes. Like you like, damn.
Yeah, just 10 minutes. My father wasn't hugging on me, but I knew he loved me because he used to always talk to me. And my father used to talk to me drunk.
Because their attention span not that long. Like they not trying to get a bunch of time from you. They just want to know you trying. Just
let that breathe a little bit. That 10 minutes that you're not trying. That's big, man.
I'm sorry, yeah.
That's 10 minutes, man.
I'm telling you. But people don't realize, man, people think it takes a lot to raise the kids. But like Trey first said, it's 10 minutes at a time, man. 10-minute conversations, man. Think about it. When you train up a child, their attention span is already short. So what you should do is you should tailor their learning to how they learn. As they get older, they'll be able to have long conversations, just like this social media age. And everybody's attention span, like TikTok, is maybe 2 seconds. And I was surprised and shocked that it's that long. If it doesn't grab your attention the first 2 seconds, they're not going to watch the other 49 seconds. you know? And when I tell people I got a podcast, I'm like, you better get ready to pull up a drink, baby. Because I ain't got no jump cuts. I'm gonna sit down and we're gonna have a long conversation. This is cerebral work we're doing over here. We let things breathe and let it pause because we're gonna be talking. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna let that thing do what it do. But with kids, their attention span is short, and you have to give it to them in burst. And I think about 10 minutes is probably about as long as any kid can hear their daddy talk anyway, or their mama talk anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, dad, get to the point. I'm gonna go outside and play. You know,
I'm trying to get back to this YouTube shorts, Pop.
Right. But here's the thing, man. I think a lot of times there's small lessons that make a big difference when it comes to raising kids. One of the greatest lessons that my dad taught me was peer pressure and how to handle it. You know what I mean? Because kids would talk each other into doing dumb stuff. And he told me, he said, you got to realize they don't know just like you don't know.
Right.
You know, they're the same age as you. What make you think they know more than you do? And you read and they don't. So why would you listen to them? I'm like, damn, you're right. You know what I'm saying? And your mom would say stuff, well, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge too? No, I wouldn't do that. I mean, it looked fun. You know, I'm gonna wait to see if he come back alive.
I got I'm worried about that would jump off the bridge. I got one. I'm worried about. You just be following whoever to do whatever the fuck. You just don't even care. You just do whatever you see everybody else doing, huh?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, my dad was a character, man. You know, we used to do dumb stuff with kids. And then once I had to go to the emergency room, man, because I had busted up my hand punching through glass or whatever. Because, you know, hanging around my cousins or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I can punch through glass like the Hulk and all this other stuff. So we sitting up in the emergency room chilling, and then all of a sudden, you know, he look at some other little kid with his leg all busted up. And I was like, he looked over me, so he jumped off the bridge. Like he punched through that glass. You know what I'm saying?
Jumping and you punching.
Yeah, he jumped. That peer pressure, man. That thing, hell, man. You know, so don't always listen to what your friends say. You know.
Yeah.
Think about it, man. The God wanted us all to be the same, man. He'd have made a Xerox machine.
Yeah.
Made us all look the same. You had the same experience. That ain't what this world all about. They all supposed to be different. So, you know, you got to the most valuable thing you can teach kids, man, is to embrace who they are and appreciate who they are and appreciate other folks who they are. Yeah. You know, you won't have time to bash people, man.
Let me ask this question. In terms of raising your kids and them being able to protect themselves outside in the world, do you think it's better to like teach the no violence and build from there? Or like my philosophy is be ready to put your hands on any motherfucking body and try and talk them down from there. Like I don't want my kid to be a bully, but I don't want you to be a cupcake either. And I'm curious of what y'all feel like the approach is in coming into that.
The easiest way is to teach them how to defend themselves physically first. You know what I'm saying? Because most times people don't want to negotiate, you know what I'm saying, right off the bat. Now, if it's something they can avoid, then I think that teaching our kids to have negotiation skills is important when it's appropriate. But also you should believe in making sure that they know how to take care of themselves in the event somebody else ain't trying to hear what they're trying to say. You know, like, oh, I tried to negotiate with you. Now I got to kick your ass. You know what I'm saying? I tried to give you a chance. So now, once you've exhausted diplomacy, then you can get into some gangster stuff, you know, now that you ain't trying to be no gentleman no more, you know, but that's how it is, man.
My brother, you ever seen the Jackson Family movie?
Yes.
You remember the scene when Joe had his sons fighting in the yard?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just a fight. It was to, like he said, defend themselves, right? The whole family saw brothers having to take turns, right? But still, he monitored in the way with the other children in the neighborhood. See, you're a father, right? And just your presence around the other kids that your children may be involved with around can make a world of a difference in how they interact with your children. You know what I'm saying? Be fair. Be fair with all the children. But there's some little kid that probably got long hair like you, same complexion, that could use you to say, hey, little fella, come here, man. What you doing, man? You a good guy or you a bad guy? And just talking some sense. And those little nuggets, man, carry, because let's just say a year from now, 2 years from now, your kids are down the street riding the bike, and then somebody else is trying to be a little bully, but those little guys can say, hey, man, leave him alone. You know what I'm saying? And come and say, Mr. Watts, they down here messing with your babies. You know what I'm saying? So it seemed like it ain't a lot, but to a little kid, those little, hey, look, come here, what y'all doing? Y'all leave her alone. See, and now they'll always see you as that face of recognition and protection. You'll understand it once you see it. It's hard for me to really explain it. But
I'm understanding exactly what you're saying as you're saying that.
And I'll say this one little thing about you have how many children in the home?
In the house is 2.
Okay, so this is always been an award-winning practice because I used to work with fathers, right? I said 10 minutes, right? If you can find 20, 30 minutes for each child separately, man, that's a game changer. Separately, and do whatever they want to do. Whatever they want to do for that 10, 20, 30 minutes, man, that's a game changer. I'm telling you. As they start to grow, they're going to be so trustworthy of you, man. They're going to come and tell you everything. They're going to want you to know because they trust you, and they don't know that you're going to give them the best advice. As long as you understand it righteously, man, I'm telling you, what you're doing now could probably leapfrog everything that y'all trying to build tenfold in the 10 years. So if your woman stays consistent and starts to circle back around to the way you had it, and by everything that y'all doing, I'm telling you, man, it could grow tenfold. I'm just saying, you can try. I'm not saying don't do it. You're going to get a lot, but once you get something, don't be afraid of it. Go ahead and try it out. Try it out. You could always say, little light skin dude, that shit didn't work. Lost in translation, that shit didn't work. But when it do, you hold on to it. Little nugget, our paint. Buy books, read. You see what I'm saying? All that little stuff.
Oh, I know it works, man.
So,
One-on-one time is important. You know, it's important for a kid to get that time alone with that one parent so that the focus is totally on them so they can feel like they're heard. Because think about it, in a world of other people or whatever, other kids, other family members or whatever, sometimes kids can blend in the background, you know, and that's the reason why a lot of times kids go unnoticed. You know, they don't understand that they have insecurities that they're afraid to tell other people because they are afraid of what other people may think. That's that peer pressure I was telling you about. So that one-on-one time, you're basically creating a safe space for that person to tell you who they really are. And once you're able to do that, that creates a bond that can't be broken, man. You'll be surprised. That one-on-one time is important, especially if you have like twins or kids that are close in age. Well, we'll think we're being efficient by talking to them all at one time, but we're not really developing that one-on-one relationship that actually is a muscle that they're going to use when they get into relationships when they get older. Because when you get married, that one-on-one relationship is exercised with your husband or with your wife, depending upon whether your kid is a girl or a boy. And that is what really builds the foundation of all your families up and down your family tree. And we don't ever think about that. You know, we always want to handle everybody in groups and bunches because it's easier. But no, that's not how that works. It's the one-on-one time. It's the bond building that actually creates the tree and the bonds that we have that keep us together, that makes relationships last for a long time, like our pain and Trey Furter.
Well, you know, it's funny, just on that same theme, it's funny because I think you kind of understand that both your kids, even though they're in the house, they have different personalities. And what they just said is a way to see each one of them individually for their personality, because then that tells you how to deal with your children on a one-on-one basis, right? Because there's not one size fit all. That's not life. The other thing I wanted to say to you, because you and your lady, I don't know if you're married or not. The truth of the matter is the center of the household is the relationship you have with your lady, right? Whether you're married or not, that's because once you have that together, it seems like you're working on that with her. Once that's together and you guys have an understanding and a bond, the kids automatically get taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Because the center of the household is the relationship you have with your lady, especially if you want to make it. for me, I'm married, so it's our marriage. I had that conversation with my wife because women tend to have a focus on kids when they have them, as opposed to. So I let her know the very first time. Here was the trigger. The very first time she told me, my priority is my kids. I stopped her. I mean, the very first time she said that, I remember this forever. It was 100,000 years ago. I said, let me stop you right there. They're not your kids. They're our kids. These are our children. And sometimes you got to remind women the kids belong to both of you. But then I went on to tell her, it was an easy conversation. It's our relationship that matters. If we're close, the kids are going to get taken care of because however much you love them, so do I. So if we have this bond together and we're going to build it, we're not going to forget the kids. We're going to make sure they're going to be a part of this umbrella that we're creating, right? This whole mosaic that we're creating, whatever it is, the relationship. And we've been married for 37 years. So, when I told people that, it was be 38 in August. I said, you've been married when I was like 1 year old. I wasn't even born when you were married. That kind of shit.
He wasn't born. He wasn't.
He wasn't born. I've been married for a long time, man. So, like I said, I can't tell people how to date today, but I can tell you how to stay married. But with kids, it's
hey, fellas out there in the internet world. If you're not willing to listen to a nigga that's been married longer than you've been alive, then you just need to get off of the internet.
Oh, my brother, I get pushed back all the time. Get pushed back all the time.
They get Rob Payne the business, man.
I don't understand. Even if I wouldn't agree with you, I would still be willing to shut up and at least receive what you're saying. Because there's no way that what you're saying to me doesn't come from at least a minute place of knowing what you're talking about. If you've been doing this longer than I've been alive, my guy.
Just a little bit.
You know what? Here's the thing. We get on this thing every week, man. And I promise you, we learn something different from each other every week. So imagine if you had a kid and they would have to learn something from their parent every day. There's no way that you can take 30, 40, 50 years of information and squeeze it into a kid before they turn 18 and say, hey, you got the rest of your life to learn this. Well, here's the thing about that. You can't look at it that way. When you're raising your kid, you're raising them as long as you're alive, whether you know it or not. At every stage that your child goes through, you've been through that stage. So until you get all the way to the casket, buddy, you're actually still training that kid through different stages of life. You're teaching them how to be a toddler, then after that, a preteen, and after that, a teenager, then a young adult, then a husband. You know what I'm saying? And after that, you get to the point where you're now the elder of the community. You see what I'm saying? And after that, you're teaching them how to be the patriarch of the family. So now, you're walking them through the different stages of life. So you never stop learning from those who come before you. You just learn a different lesson. And one of the things that we have to give our parents grace about and something to free our kids from is to let your kids know that you're not perfect. Freedom from that. Because the minute that they think that you're perfect, they're going to think that they have to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? And that is an ungodly pressure that you want to put on anybody. There are plenty of people right now who won't even start their own podcast because they feel like they have to be perfect. They're worried about other people say. Man, let me tell you something. If I didn't turn my microphone on because I was worried about what somebody else say, I would probably be less 200 some episodes on my channel now as we speak. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be farther along than I am now. But I will tell you this: you can't worry about what other people think. You gotta turn it on, man, and you gotta keep going. And you don't have to worry about being perfect. You'll get better as you go along. You get better as you learn and talk to other different people. You don't know how good you're going to be until you take the first step, because you'll meet people along the way that turn you into something different that'll have you thinking, man, I'm not the same person I used to be when I first got started. Thank God for that first step. Thank God for the first step, because you don't know what you're going to be. You don't know who you're going to inspire. Just like we were talking tonight. We didn't know you was going to come up. We were just talking like we normally talk. And then something that we said sparked in what you said. And believe it or not, you learn from us, but we're also learning from you too. And eventually we'll use something that we learned tonight and teach somebody else. And you'll learn something that you learned from us tonight. And you'll go back and teach somebody else.
That 10 minutes thing really, y'all really got me. I'm really intrigued on putting that into my life, because as we're having this conversation, I'm realizing that when all of them were infants, when they were babies, it was nothing for me to just hold them for 30, 45 minutes and even at that time when they was little and I was giving them bottles, I would walk around and I would look at them in their eyes and say, all right, daddy's going to have a real nigga conversation with you. And I would walk around for 45 minutes and we're going to have a real conversation. And with my girls, and look, the world is going to be a little tough on you. You know, you taking advantage of, blah, 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 all of that. Like, we would have those conversations at infant size. And as I'm having this conversation with you, with you guys, I'm realizing as they've gotten older, I've gotten more away from that. Okay. I've gotten more away from spending that time to have a real conversation. And even if it is only 10 minutes, just having one real conversation could go a long way, because it might not register, it might not make sense, it might not even matter in today's life for another 3-4 years, but the moment that it matters, the moment that it's important to them, it's gonna register in their brain, and they're gonna know, I talked to my dad about this.
Yes,
I've seen this, I've heard this before. This ain't brand new. So
let me go to my dad. I don't know what to do, so let me go get his counsel. And dad is going to give him the fucking best counsel he could ever get, because you ain't expecting nothing from him but to be good. You ain't trying to manipulate, none of that. You're saying this is the best counsel, son. You know what I'm saying? And that it gives young people so much motivation to be better. It gives them motivation because they always got that, my daddy know, he told me the right thing to do, so I'm going to do what he tell me. I ain't going to listen to nobody else. I'm going to follow my gut instinct. So, man, despite what YouTube rhetoric is, man, just the fact that you have a story like this and it's, right in the middle of the play, it's like the game is being played right now and people are trying to fight against what you're able to pull off. Man, kudos, man, for real, man. For real. It'll pay out. You'll see it when you're ready for it. Right now, you ain't ready.
He's ready.
No, he ain't ready for the full benefit of it.
Oh, yeah.
When you see it, that shit,
you'll notice it. Yeah,
you're gonna be thankful for what you did.
It's funny, but this story is based on what you just said, man. Case in point, I was at Thanksgiving dinner. My daughter might have been in 9th grade, and she was talking about I had a whole family around the table, grandmother and everybody, and she mentioned that this boy in her class, they were going to go to the movies. They wanted to go to the movies, the girls and all that. He says, well, can you pay my way to go to the movies? And she mentioned that, and I looked at her, and I had a flash. I said, all I thought about was some dude on her couch and she's paying the bills, right? That's all I thought about. I said, you know what?
Here you go.
I said, let's come on, we're gonna talk about this a little bit later. So we sat down and we talked. I said, don't you ever think about, because she didn't have no money. I'm giving her money. Don't even think about giving her money, taking a boy. If he wants to take you to the movies, let him sell bottles and shit like that so he can come up with the money. I said, you don't have, because at one point, it was 7 years between her and her younger sister. So she always wanted a sibling. So she was extra friendly. She was extra friendly. She always wanted somebody. So I knew psychology of her. So I said, listen, you don't have to pay for nobody's friendship, ever, boy or girl. I said, so you don't pay for no boy. He want to take you out. He has to come up and pay. So I said, so she understood me. I said, if they don't want to be with you, if you're not doing these extras, let the door hit them on the ass on the way out. 6 months later, she said, Dad, you don't think I listened to you. But you know what? I told what you told me to all the girls in the class. We told the boys, get the hell out of here. We ain't doing nothing for you guys. We ain't, if y'all need money, go find it somewhere else. She actually listened. And put that in perspective, because in my head, all I could think of, especially in the Black community, how many women take care of dudes who ain't doing nothing, right? Even though this wasn't that, it was just my mental extrapolation, right? So I just, so the fact that she listened and then told me the story almost 6 months later. Says it resonated with her. And it just so happens that I was at the table at the time. That's when I talk about serendipity. Sometimes your kids say stuff, and if you ain't around, you can't correct something that they say wrong, or you can't hear something that they say right. And that's why we need to have men in the house with the kids more often, because you catch shit just by being there. You know,
I tell my nephew our pain when he's going out with these girls. I said, look, if she don't offer to pay, don't fool with her, because she using you, bro. And that counteracts what you've been telling your girl. So we're gonna see who's gonna win.
No. What I'm saying is, well, they're
not
grown
the sprinkle.
Yeah.
No. Well, that was when she was younger.
Yeah.
As a grown woman and all that, she could make a different decision based on the situation. But as a teenager and a young woman, no, not at that age. Because the only money she had was the money I was giving her. I'm not giving you no money to take her to do that.
You think she gonna stay a little girl forever? Our pain. She gonna remember.
No, but I'm saying as a grown woman, that's her choice. But as a kid, that's what I was talking about.
What you think she gonna do? She gonna do what she remember, or she gonna do what she thinks she gonna do?
Now, Vince,
she gonna do what work. Hey, look, she gonna do what works. Because if the right one with the right sauce come past, it don't matter what Daddy said. If the right one with the right sauce,
and when she's an adult, I don't have no problem with that. But as a kid,
that's the difference.
As an adult, I have no issue with that. I'm not even going to get in the middle of that.
I'm gonna tell you, like I tell my nephew, our pain sauce sold separately. You know what I'm saying?
I would hope
dripping sauce.
Right.
I would hope that a woman who was willing to come out of the pocket for a dude, they have some of the other prerequisites out of the way.
Yeah, because women don't spend money on men that they don't like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if those prerequisites are out of the way, that's up to them. When they're adults, man, like I said before, I recognize the differences in terms of age. When you're a 21-year-old, that's why I don't take no excuses from women. Well, I did something stupid. I'm 21, 22.
They 25.
You're a grown person, man. You gotta eat the accountability for the decisions you make. That includes my daughters. They just so happen having been making those mistakes. But the point is, I recognize that the fact they're women, I treat them as such. I don't baby them, and hell no.
Do you think that release, the release that you're talking about, right? That freedom that you give your kid to make their own decisions, is that something that you held in? How can I ask a question that makes sense? Is that something you regarded as an age thing or a maturity thing?
If you're going to try to separate age, first is age.
Yes,
right? Because there's a legality to being 18.
Okay.
And then it's a maturity thing. Luckily for me, the age and maturity was in lockstep. When my girls were 18, they were prepared to go to school, college. They were prepared to leave my house because they had a plan. They didn't go to college just trying to figure out what the hell they were going to do. They had a plan. And just me, my youngest was going to be an architect. She went to college for architecture. So she had a path to run on. My oldest, she wanted to be an engineer, changed in a year and a half. She got into human resources. And she's working in her profession now. So they were prepared to go to college. And their mentality was of a young adult at 18. And that was one of the things I wanted to do. So I started treating them as such. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah.
Because there is a difference. So sometimes just 18-year-olds are really immature. Immature. And you have to take extra care.
Yeah.
But I was blessed. I'm not even lucky. I was blessed. One of the things that I did was I kept my girls, because they are girls, in proximity of where me and my wife live. So when they went to college, they were within 20 miles of my house. So if I had to go get them, I didn't have to travel across country. I didn't have to do all that shit. If something went down, I was able to reach out and grab them.
Yeah.
And that was important to me. It cost me some money too by doing that. It did. It really did. Because my oldest had a scholarship to my alma mater, but it was in Buffalo, New York. It was like 400 miles away. And so she wanted to go to the school in New Jersey where we are. you know, and and she cried like a baby, man. I said, man, shit. And I said, she said, you know, you just want to send me away. I said, you goddamn right, I want to send you away. It's going to save me this money. then I just buckled.
Then you gave in.
I buckled like a chief. But I did tell her this. I'm gonna ramble just one little bit. I told her this. I said, this is I'm gonna pay out of pocket because you didn't get no money from this school. She went to Rutgers. I said, if you having loans, you're paying them damn things back. After what I can afford, if you have to go over that, you're paying them back. And that's exactly what happened. You know, that's when I brought her back home, she paid them back within like 3 or 4 years. But she only had like $35,000 worth of loans. But by her coming home and getting a job in her profession, she was able to pay it back because she was stacking bread because I'm paying all the bills here. So she, you know, that's my life. She was able to do that, but you know, you know, it's so funny that you guys are making me talk about that. That same daughter said, you know, Dad, listen, you know, you don't understand. We are privileged. I said, what you mean privileged? I said, I don't. What you mean privileged? She said, yeah.
She got real friends.
You know, but I swear, she said they're privileged. I said, listen, you ain't privileged. She said, yeah. He said, well, none of my friends were able to do what I was able to do.
Hell
and
no.
it was a compliment to me, but I was saying, because I don't feel that way. When you're the guy stoling out the money, you don't think that shit's privilege. You know what I'm saying? It's golly. But anyway, man, but raising them two girls, man, was, you know, the book is open. And it's funny because they give me energy. You know, I should get in shape better, but they give you energy because every kid is like a book with chapters. That's how I look at it. And you want to read as many chapters as you can before you go, because all of us want to naturally go before our children. So I want to keep reading that book as far as I can go.
Yes.
Right. So I've been through so many chapters so far. It's really interesting to see how they develop and the decisions they make and all that shit. It's mushy, but that's the way I'm living my life, man. You know? Yeah. So I can't think of anything I've done any greater than marrying my wife and having those two kids. That's some of the greatest shit that I've done so far in my life. So
you know what? I'm gonna explain something to y'all. I'm gonna piggyback off what Arpain said. Arpain said that his daughters went to college to learn how to be whatever it is that they become, right? She wanted to be an architect, that type of thing. I think the difference between relationships now and then is that back then men were trained to be husbands first before anything else. I think so. You could think about it. You can learn to be anything else that you want to be later on in life, but to learn how to be a husband first is where it's at, because it sets your motivation and tone and direction for everything else that you do. You know what I mean? Think about it. If you're raised to be a husband, guess what? Now you got to find a wife that was raised to be a wife. You know, you can't marry somebody who hasn't been trained on how to be a wife. It's going to make your life difficult. Even the Bible talks about that. It's better to live on the corner of the shack and the rock than to live with a quarrelsome woman. I assure you that quarrelsome woman was never taught how to be a wife. So guess what? Now you have to learn how to pick a wife. You know, now that you've found a wife that knows the rules, who knows how to play her role, you play your role. And those are the men who are actually blessed. You know, they always say, you know, a man who finds a wife finds a good thing and find favor with the Lord. The favor comes with cooperation and agreement. And I think that's the part of the conversation that we never have. Women like to grasp a hold of that just because they call themselves a wife. They think the favor comes with it. The favor don't come with you just because you're the woman. The favor comes with because you're in agreement with your husband and with God. And y'all moving in a direction that's pleasing to him. You see what I'm saying? Because the way that he set it out, it's easier that way. And when we overcome our flesh, that's when we actually become more of use to him. That means we're able to listen to those lessons. We're actually, as a father, you know, we listen to our father and say, you know, well, you was right, Dad. You know, we develop an ear for God and where he comes from. And our kids are just examples of that too. You know, when you get younger, you know, when you get older, you start to realize that your dad knew what he was talking about. So it's the same way with us when we talking to God. It's like, I ain't know it, I ain't know that, but you know, you keep living, you keep working, you keep listening, it starts making more and more sense because now you have experiences to bounce and judge that thing off of, you know? So my whole thing is this: when you have children, think about it as if you and them are writing their story together. And you're also writing your story together too. You see what I'm saying? And what we don't realize is that whatever you put into them, they're going to be chapters that they're going to add to their book that you have no knowledge of what's going on. And they're going to be chapters in your book that they have no knowledge of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So I'll give you an example. I didn't find out that I had 2 older brothers until I was 35 years old. That was a chapter in a book that my dad probably was never going to tell me. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there's chapters in my life that my dad is not here that's privy to that I wish I could have shared with him. You know, say, hey, I tried being a dad too at one time. That didn't quite work out. You know what I'm saying? He said, nah, you see the reason why I told you to build it the way I told you to build it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. If I can have a conversation with that old man, I'd be like, you know what, you was right. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna do that no more. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if I can help some other people to do it the way that it's meant to be done, it's a whole lot easier. You know, and even if they get off track, I can say, hey, look, this is how we get it back. You know, you made a few mistakes. I know sometimes we get on the girls and say, hey, you know, you were young and dumb or whatever, but at the same time, we got to realize we played our part in that too. And we got to realize, hey, you know, we got to tighten up. At the same time, we got to tell the girls, hey, you know, you had some help. You know, you let them in there now. You know what I'm saying? When you ring the doorbell, you open the door up. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So we got to teach kids to say, hey, look, the way you build this thing is that you have to look at it from different angles. You know, just like when you married your wife, when you're with your girl or whatever, that's still somebody else's daughter, you know? And when she married her husband, that's still somebody else's son. Now that you have kids, would you want somebody to treat your child the way that you're treating your husband? Or would you want somebody to treat their child the way that you're treating your wife? I assure you, you would look at your spouse in a whole different another light if you're now thinking about the responsibility of taking care of that person the way you should. You know what I mean? In the absence of my wife's father, I'm prepared to take on that responsibility to taking care of her until there's no more breath in my lungs. You know, and she should be able to same way and say, hey, look, in the absence of his mother, you know, as a wife, I'm going to make sure I nurture and take care of him until there's no more breath left in my lungs. And I think when we start approaching relationships that way, in a more precious way, I think that we would have a better foundation to build relationships on, to build family legacies on, to get past all this petty stuff and to be more conscious of what's going on. I think that helps out a lot.
There's no doubt about it. Being up here is a great thing for me, and I would just be on the short with this. It makes you reflect, right? Because I'm older than most of all the panels I'm on. I'm pretty much the oldest person on a lot of these panels, and then I had to learn to kind of shut up and listen to a lot of people because they're living in a different reality. And the one true thing that I have to say is that I was living in a reality where tradition really still mattered. I went up to my father-in-law and asked him for my wife's hand in marriage. Almost nobody does that today, right? He said a couple of things to me. I'll never forget. He says, listen, I'm going to give my daughter to you in one piece. Just make sure if anything goes wrong, just bring her back to me in one piece. That's exactly. That was a quote verbatim. And I just looked at him and said, well, don't worry. She's not coming back. She's not coming. She's not coming. And now that I'm in my age, if I had a guy coming up to me to say something similar to me about one of my daughters, I would understand where he was coming from. Because to me, I'm still covering my daughters because they're not married. So for him to find a guy who says, you know, I'm willing to cover your daughter for a lifetime, I know the gravity of that shit when he heard it from me. I realized the gravity of that stuff. Because, you know, my daughters are grown, so I don't have, the one who's living here, I have a little bit more say. But the one who's not, she still tells me when she does major things. But the truth of the matter is, and I told my daughters, I want you to be covered by somebody who cares about you in a different way than I do, but I can trust that's going to take care of you no matter what. Because as a man, just like you, 100 watts, a lot of women don't realize that we're willing to give away, not give away, we're willing to do much more by obligation for our families than they can ever imagine. Women take that shit for granted. When a woman can understand that, you know, in a marriage, or maybe not even a marriage, but in a community, you got a family, a kid, hey, whatever my obligations to you is much more than any obligation I'm asking you to give back to me. And that's what men do, you know. And so that's what so when I married my wife, she didn't have anything to worry about from the standpoint that she trusted me and the decisions I made. And God bless me for not making too many stupid ones. You know what I'm saying? For all these years. So, you know, it's not that I didn't make any mistakes, but I tried not to make any mistakes we couldn't recover from. And any mistakes she made, I had to be willing to correct them. You know, so I mean, so that's where it's at. So, and I've realized how traditional that shit is. And so I've learned not to judge people in the modern era by the way I live, by the way we live. So it has given me a reflection because I wasn't this smart when I was 25. I wasn't, you know, so it sounds like I was smart, but you know, I wasn't. I just made decisions that sound smart now. I have to admit that. I have to admit that because I think I was a dog shit idiot.
You can admit that. You can admit that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You can toot your own horn, man. The hell.
Nah, but you know, I don't want to do that because that's sometimes, you know, because I just say when I asked her to marry, the way we courted, the way we got married, and all that kind of stuff, it was just kind of, we were just going with the flow back then because people got married a whole lot more back in the 70s.
I'm gonna tell you
back in the 80s, and
I'm gonna tell you why, okay? We had less distractions, man.
Less distractions, yes.
We had less distractions.
Yeah, we had that.
It took a little bit more to get to know somebody back then because you had to go through some things, you know. You had to make a phone call and get past a father or mother if she picked up the phone first. You know, we had to.
Hey, Miss Johnson, is Yolanda up?
Huh?
Hey, no, that's when you had to call it, hey, Miss Johnson, is Yolanda up?
Who is you? Who is your folks, little boy? You know
Well, I forgot about that, right? The rotary phone. People don't even know about those phones.
You had to have courage, man. You know, they had no DMs where if you get rejected, nobody knew. You know,
no, because you could get cursed out right on that same line.
Right.
You could get cursed out by a mother.
Or your mom, her mom could be listening to your phone call. You just didn't know it, you know.
You know what's interesting?
You know, but 100 watt, let me just tell you this, man. Even in the modern era, man, between a man and a woman, it's just it's still a negotiation on what you both would agree with each other. And no matter what, you have to be willing, not just you, but most people, even today, you want to have a serious relationship with a woman or a man, whatever, not you, but you know, back and forth. You just have to be able to link up with the person that you're going to hook up with. I don't use the word partner. If you're going to get married, then it's a marriage, husband and wife. And you just have to be willing to blot out all the distractions. You just got to be willing because you know they're coming from social media, your parents and all that. And whatever negotiation you have between you and your significant other, you have to just be able to stick by that. You know, and that's what I'm saying. I think that's the big difference. I had less distractions than most people have today. Less less people trying to intrude on your lives, and less social media about people glamorizing debauchery and all that shit. You know, so that's just.
I'll give you an example. Our pain. Say, for instance, you hang out with your lady. Let's say, for instance, it's the 80s. You know, before we had cell phones and pages and stuff like that. You would take her out to some field somewhere, and y'all guys would sit out on the hood of the car and look at the stars, and y'all would actually have a conversation uninterrupted. So now adjust that to 2025. Both of y'all looking at y'all phones, see who calling, you know, see what the hot trend topic is, you know, somebody sending you a meme or some type of
you
reel.
send me a meme
sitting
across the table from me. Don't be sitting across the table from me and you send me a meme.
You know, you're not really building no relationship, no bond for real, man.
Well, back then we could see the stars. Depending on where you live today, you can't even see the stars.
Right.
Looking up in the sky. Down in the Northeast, back at one point, even in the Bronx, you were able to look up at the sky and see the stars. Now, so much electricity going on, you can't even see them.
Yeah, too much light pollution, man. You know.
Yeah.
But think about it. It takes a little bit more. You have to be. I put it like you have to be way more intentional now in trying to build a family now than what it was back in the day.
Yeah,
you really do.
Got to.
Because you don't know what these people are being exposed to. With everybody being an influencer now, and you don't know where the hell they got their information from or what it's based off of. You know what I'm saying? It's like to get money. You know what I'm saying? You ain't trying to help nobody for real.
Yeah.
You know?
The subtle art of meeting someone new is completely gone.
Yeah. And bro, you spoke about it. Those 10 minutes, a lot of young people, that's how long their attention span is with the person that they meet. It's about 10 minutes. Then they're ready to move on. So it's crazy. Man.
You know, but our pain, I was listening to you a second ago. You were talking about the traditional part of speaking to your father-in-law before you got married. And I was thinking, I literally sat here and I thought about it. And after I graduated high school, I literally got all the way up into the age of 28 before I was dealing with the woman that had her father. When I say had her father in her life, I'm talking about could call him on the phone and actually have a conversation with him type shit.
I dig it.
Like this, and it's wild to think about now. Like when you said it, it's wild to think about. Like I legit went through 10 years of my adult life dealing with women that don't talk to their fathers.
Yeah.
But you know what I will tell
in terms of me even making the attempt to try to be respectful, to go speak to him, or even just going to speak to him to try and understand, even if I'm just trying to talk to him to understand his daughter more, I can't even do that. Like
exactly.
You know what? There's a little unspoken rule that you don't know about. Your woman will have way more respect for you when you talk to her dad. You know why? It's because he was her covering before. So he was the authority in her life. So to her eyesight, you're her now champion. You see what I'm saying? Because now she knows that you're not afraid of her father, but at the same time, you're still seeking wisdom from this man. You see what I'm saying? So in her eyes, you're a big deal now.
Yep.
You're a big deal now.
Yep.
That's why it's important for guys to have that conversation with her father.
Yeah. Because brother, it goes back to what you were saying earlier, right? And we was talking about having those moments of trust as they go through that experience of those. Let's just go back to the 10 minutes when they get to that place in life as young adults where they trust you. They're going to allow you to be sort of important in their lives when it comes to choosing a mate. Our pain said, meet my daddy, meet my, you know what I'm saying? And let my parents meet. Those things you won't have to worry about because it'll be instilled in them. And I
told my daughter that too. I said, listen, if you got a guy you like, the first thing you need to be talking about is you got to meet my father. I said, if you don't want him to meet me, I said, then why are you dealing with this dude?
Right.
If you don't think he elevates to a point where he needs to meet me, then don't give me no bullshit. You shouldn't be dealing with him. And I tell her, grown or not, Yeah, and I told my oldest that too. I said, listen, you know what? You ain't no thought out here. You know, if this guy don't elevate to the level that you want him to meet your parents, then this guy ain't for you. Period. You know, and well, how if that resonated? You know, she got one that she feels that way about, but that's cool. But I told her straight up, you can't, you can't be over here just dicking around because you horny. No, hell with that. You know, I told her straight up. You know, and she a grown woman. And she looked and shake her head, yeah. I said, yeah, I'm serious, goddamn.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you.
But let me add this part, Joe. I said, listen, your biological clock ain't where you could waste that much time. In your 20s is one thing, but now that you're 29, 30, I said, you can't be fooling around with no guy for a few years deciding on whether it's going to work out. You got to be intentional. If he ain't intentional, get rid of this guy. Period.
And at the same time, R-Pain, as a man, you want to talk to a father because let me tell you something. I've actually talked to some girls' dads, and I'm like, this ain't gonna work. The reason why I want to talk to the dad, I want to know if he's standing behind his product. Like real talk. You know, do you stand on your product, sir? Can you vouch for this? You know, because if you ain't done a good job, I'm sending it back to you. You know, I'm returning the sender. You know what I'm saying? Manufacturer. You know what I'm saying? It's still a warranty. I'm sending it back. You know what I'm saying?
He said, man to man, this ain't no bullshit, is it?
Hey, man to man, you stand behind your product or what, man? This your handiwork, you know.
What you say that you see so eager to give her away, maybe something wrong. Please,
it's gonna fall off, you know.
Take off my head.
As a man, you need to know if he's standing behind his product. You better stand flat with a man to man and shake his hand and look at his eyes and say, sir, do you stand behind your product?
That's the closest to a Carfax you're gonna get.
I'm telling you. You trying to get no limit, man.
That's funny as hell, man. But that's true too. That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Both ways.
Yes, sir. You got your work cut out for you, young brother.
Yeah, man. Listen, man, 100 watts, man. That's great, man. You're bringing up a whole bunch of stuff for us to think about, man. That's cool, man.
I appreciate the fact that I got on the panel today and actually learned something I can apply. Most of the time, I just sit here and I just be listening to a bunch of people arguing and be like, all right, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and hop off for this one.
Man. Yeah. Man, let me explain something to you, man. I'm glad you showed up because we're trying to create a space that actually makes people think. And we don't get into the habit of telling people what to think. We just want people to think. You know what I mean? From time to time, we'll teach you how to think, but at the same time, we want you to figure it out for yourself. And we ask yourself, does it make sense? That's all we want to know. Does it make sense to you for your particular situation? And if we keep talking long enough, you'll find something that you can use. And if you keep talking long enough, we're going to find something that we can use. So it's a symbiotic situation. So don't think that you coming up here and you getting something. We getting something for our money too. So we just let you know we appreciate you for coming up, bro.
No doubt, for sure.
Yeah, it ain't over. You leaving. You ain't leaving.
No. You know what I'm saying? Everybody see, sometimes you just gotta be able to take a moment and make sure you give flowers, you know what I'm saying? Just be like, I appreciate you, my man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes
man.
Yeah, you always welcome, man, to come back, man. You know, on the barbershop is an open door. You know, we'll have a question that frames it up, but most of the time we talk about anything, man.
Yeah, sure. And understand the barbershop do get a little heated sometimes.
Hey, look, trust me. So this channel right here, right? So I'm a restaurant manager, right? And a lot of times this channel right here would be on my Bluetooth speaker in my office when I'm at work. So I walk out the office and go take care of some business, and I walk back in and be like, "Oh shit, what did I just walk into? Wait, time out. They was talking about the Bible when I left. What did we?
Yeah, we'll switch.
Yeah, we'll switch up on you, man.
Yeah, no,
that's good.
This whole this channel is great right here.
Indeed. Yeah, before we get up out here, did you want to add anything, man? For the people, let people know how they can find you, man.
So I'm currently in YouTube jail right now because YouTube is sensitive.
What you did, man?
Look, man, I have copywritten music on Spotify that I play, and I guess one of the songs got flagged. You know what I'm saying? I'm in YouTube jail.
Look at man,
but
you need to come to Black Man and Filters University on how to get away with some foolishness. Because we know how to remove stuff from the show. You know what I'm saying? So just come highlight us, man. We'll hook you up, man.
Yeah, on Twitch you can find me at 100 watts. That's WATTZ2 Fly. Over here on YouTube, Finesse Visions. As I mentioned earlier, every Wednesday at 8, me and my father, we go live. We do Pops Knows Best. This week we're going to be starting the conversation with Michael. With Magic Johnson is better than Michael Jordan. That's
That's
we're
a
starting
good
our
conversation.
How long y'all usually go when y'all hook up on Wednesday?
Pops Knows Best. We normally do about an hour, 2 hours, just depending on how the show is going. And then after that, I go live. If the show's still flowing and everybody was still talk everything like that, I go live from my own show from the same channel, but I have 4 different shows from that channel that we spinning through right now. So plenty more coming soon. Finesse Visions.
Is it one word or is it? How is it?
Finesse Visions, 2 words. Finesse Visions. That's how you find the YouTube page. Pops Knows Best. I'm putting up episode 1 this Wednesday.
Okay, so we got to go find you from Finesse Visions.
Finesse Visions. That's the YouTube page. Yeah. Me and YouTube have had this long beef because they always take my content. They took an entire YouTube page from me, monetized and everything. Took an entire YouTube page from me. So we're starting over from scratch right now.
Okay. Well, man,
that's why
follow the rules, man. Follow the rules.
And I'm trying.
Man, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. YouTube is a whole lot lenient than TikTok. Let me tell you something. I got a strike for a single bear emoji. I'm in TikTok jail right now because I put up a single bear emoji. It said it went against their community guidelines.
For a bear?
For a bear. For a bear emoji. So of course, I'm not finna get them no free content. I ain't finna get them nothing. I'm just gonna comment. You know what I'm saying? They ain't finna get. I'm putting all my efforts over in YouTube because they pay. All right, Payne, did you want to give us something, man, before you get up out of here, man?
I appreciate the conversation. Like I have a Monday show here on this channel. I come up with a lot of different topics. I'll talk about some politics. I have something I think special for this Monday, and maybe I'll get the channel banned. But I want to talk about I'm only joking. But the peril. I want to talk about the dark side of Black Girl Magic.
Oh,
and the impact it has on our sons.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get banned.
So I want to talk about that. Yeah. I mentioned it before. Now that even though it started out as a good thing, I think there was some nefarious stuff behind it that left boys, sons, husbands, and fathers behind.
Yeah.
Because the fact that now, the women who are raising those boys are raising uneducated men. And now they're complaining about Black men being uneducated. Who do you think are not educated? Right? Because we have a plethora of women raising boys that don't measure up. And not because the men ain't around, they're kicking them out of the house. So there's a lot of, and guess what? I put that into YouTube and I found like 10 different women, not men, but women talking about the dark side of Black Girl Magic. So I always have clips. So I never lean on my own understanding on this thing. I just had the idea. And I didn't know I was going to find so much information.
Oh, yeah.
But Black Girl Magic was founded by, I believe, a woman who was a feminist. And I'm not sure. I think she might have also been a lesbian.
I'm surprised.
So not to have anything, I have lesbians in the family. But, if you're a lesbian, that means you have something about you that doesn't like men. You can't deny that. So I might talk about it. I might come up with something else, but I'm working on that. I stay political. I usually, but my home channel is called Marriage, Politics, and Sports. So I get into politics, relationships, and sports. So I'm gonna get into this relationship shit this time, and I hope I might try to find a woman to come up on the panel too. So I'm gonna figure it out. So I don't want to just be a man in the echo chamber. I want a woman to come up and say, "Yeah, I agree or disagree," or at least have a perspective. So we'll see. That's Monday at 7 Eastern. And that's all I have. Hey, listen, 100 watts, man. Thanks for coming up, man. Because a lot of times these questions help me reflect and help us reflect. But you had some good points. God bless you. On what you're trying to do with your significant other and your children. We didn't even get into your other two, but that's a whole nother podcast right there. So anyway, man, good luck to you, man. God bless you, man. Hopefully everything works out.
I appreciate it.
Indeed. Trey Ferg, you want to leave us with some words of wisdom, brother?
Oh, man, again, man, listen, man, we do a sports show here on BMU Network, 1-on-1 Sports on Wednesdays at 8. That's why I asked you the time. If I ever get a chance to get over, man, I'm going to definitely check you out, man. Listen, I got a little channel, man, at Coach Ferg on YouTube, man. I don't do a lot of fighting. I just give commentary on funny stuff that I've seen. There's some detailed, good information just about health and wealth and, just stuff to be a man, man. Just be the best man you can be. Hey, man, listen, man. This is springtime, man, a great season for everybody to sort of think about their health so we can be here for the long haul, man. Whether you're young or old, man, take care of your health, man. Get your checkups. You know what I'm saying? Try to eat somewhat of a healthy diet, move around, keep your circulation, man, because we know that we have families and they need us, man. So just try to be, as righteous as you can now, a little bit more intention, a little bit more healthier than we were, man, because we're getting older, and some of us are even getting wiser. And if you like me, you're getting uglier. So try to be the best you can while you're young. You know what I'm saying? Leave no stone unturned today because the information is there, man. And salute to you, brother, man. Again, I think you are what the world need to see in what you're doing. You have some things that is playing out in your favor. I would think it's in the early stage per se, like right in the middle. Yeah, so you'll see it a few years down the road, especially with your babies, man. So salute to you, man. Keep doing your thing. Get the woman on board, get her locked in, and y'all straight. Tell her come on back in the house and put her feet up, and
Yeah. As soon as we make that swap back, first thing I'm gonna do is go get her eyebrows done and get her feet done.
There you go.
First thing I'm gonna do. As soon as we make that swap back.
There you go.
I did just want one last thing. Stop that vaping shit and get your chest scanned. He was talking about health. Okay, all that vaping. I ain't gonna say I would rather you smoke cigarettes, but that vaping is doing way worse to you than the cigarettes are. Mm-hmm. Please stop that shit and go get your chest scanned. Please. Yeah. Some of y'all got some lymph nodes swelling up in your chest right now and you don't know because the symptoms ain't hit you yet.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's crazy.
Indeed. Yeah. But here's my whole thing, man. I appreciate you coming out. Black Man and Filter have all kind of shows, man. We have something every week. Thursday is my slot. I got a treat for y'all, but next week I'm working on. It's feminists in banking. Oh, y'all gonna love that. You know how some women always get on these panels and women only got married because they couldn't get a bank account, which is a lie. And we're gonna get into that come next week, and it's a little bit more to it than that. And women are still getting married today with bank accounts and money. So it's gonna be a conversation that we're gonna have. And I got some footage that ain't never been seen before that I got from the National Archives that we're going to talk about. And it's women talking to women. And it's from the 70s. It's real good. Y'all going to enjoy that. And we're going to have us a nice little conversation about that come Thursday. But yeah, this whole women and feminism and banking. Yeah. We're going to debunk all these lies and all these excuses why people shouldn't be married, because the information that people have gotten is coming from a place they have no idea where it came from. And once they see how horrible the places they got the information from, they wouldn't want to stand behind it. So my thing is this, it's up to us to do the research to find out where this stuff comes from, because a lot of this stuff they don't put on the internet. And it's up for us to find it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to make sure I share that. Yeah, this Thursday coming up, because I'm on vacation next week, all the way up until Thursday. I'm going to be out Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so I can put this thing together. Because y'all know when I put stuff together, I do it right. I ain't finna put out no jibber jabber. And I stand behind what I say, and I also cite my sources in case somebody want to come back and just, check my stuff. So I like to give people the right information to make this stuff up, because we want to make sure that we build families back the way they should be built back, instead of listening to foolishness from other people. Man, I want to thank y'all for coming out tonight. Our Pain and ran off. 100 Watts, thank you for coming on. Our Pain, thank you so much. Coach Ferg, 100 Watts, Katalia, and everybody else listening. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure you guys hit subscribe on the way out, and then make sure y'all share the channel from time to time. It helps us out to us grow this thing. It's one thing for you to hit the like button. It's another thing for you to share, because this is always good information to have. I appreciate y'all for coming out. Thank you. God bless and good night.